They've been feeding us worm-infested meat, and that's why we're always sick. Look at this.
Look at that guy. He's happy as hell, just cruising around there. Yep.
We all know that pork is an unclean meat, but did you know it was this unclean? Look at this person pulling the worms out of the sausages. That's disgusting.
This ain't fashion. This ain't fashion. What kind of outfit is this, Gunna? Because the people are concerned. That's what they're saying. They're concerned about this outfit, and it doesn't look like drip. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Oh, and he's pointing that finger up to the sky. We all know what that means. Matter of fact, let's get a closer look at this outfit. What does this mean, Gunna?
Hey, y'all seen this thing pop up in Mexico, y'all? What is that? Look at this.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do the best seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Yeah, I know what we do. Seek the truth.
Some history that you did not learn in school. There are only 5 U.S. presidents that did not take their presidential oath on a Bible. Thomas Jefferson, John Q. Adams, Theodore Roosevelt, Calvin Coolidge, and Lyndon Johnson. Arnold Schwarzenegger tricked Sylvester Stallone into starring in a movie called Stop or My Mom Will Shoot by pretending it was a great movie and that he was going to star in it. A Swedish sailor in the 1950s sent a message in a bottle saying, "To someone beautiful and far away," which found its way to a 17-year-old Sicilian girl, and they got married less than 2 years after he originally sent the bottle. The drummer for The Who had a nasty habit of blowing up hotel bathrooms. And I don't think you know what I mean. Starting with cherry bombs and eventually moving to dynamite. Even going as far to asking a hotel manager to witness an explosion of one of their toilets in response to a noise complaint. James Buchanan was the only U.S. president to remain a lifelong bachelor.
These guys are acting really sad for people that just went to the moon. Watch this. So the picture up top is before they went to the moon. They look pretty excited. And this is below is when they came back from the moon. They look pretty sad, discouraged. Like they didn't actually go anywhere.
Okay.
They weird.
Was it true, the moon landing?
So Hollywood continues to make movies that cause a lot of backlash. This time, Nicolas Cage is starring in a movie that is a horror film about Jesus Christ. You heard what I said, a horror film about Jesus Christ. The movie is entitled The Carpenter's Son. Once again, Hollywood is mocking God. And then again, God is coming back to let you know that you need to stop playing. And what do I mean by that? While filming The Carpenter's Son, Nicolas Cage was attacked by bees on the set. You may think that I'm making it up or it might have been something random. Take a look at this horror film, attacked by bees on the set. Do you think that that had something to do with making a horror film about Jesus Christ? And Nicolas Cage is very fortunate because it could have been much worse. Let me know your thoughts on this horror movie, The Carpenter's Son. Do you believe it's a slap in the face to some? Or some are just going to say it's just another form of art? Were the bees a form of art? Or was that just a little retribution for making a film like this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Thoughts down
Girl
below.
claims she's a vampire and that she's 104 years old. She says she was born in 1922. She can't talk about how she became a vampire or how long she's been one because if she does, she says she'll get punished. Now she's asking for help because the vampire community found out she went public and became a video blogger, even though that's supposedly forbidden. And now she's looking for support and protection from regular people. She admits she doesn't want to be a vampire anymore. She wants to be human again. She says she misses being able to feel things, to experience emotions, and live like a normal person. She says she lives somewhere on the North American continent, kind of near Alaska. In one of her videos, she shows what her room used to look like, kind of dark and cold. She says it was a pretty sad, gloomy room, but now she changed it and made it so there's light everywhere. And here, she shows that if she wants to go out in sunlight, she has to wear a special earring with a magical crystal in her left ear. It protects her and lets her go outside during the day. But if she takes it off, This is what happens.
It watched as the plane's engines cut out one by one until all four were dead, leaving it gliding silently at 37,000 feet. You see, a cloud of volcanic ash had been blown high into the sky from an eruption, and since it wasn't a normal cloud, it didn't show up on the plane's radar. When it entered the engines, the heat melted it into glass. That glass clogged the turbines and shut down all four engines. Meaning for 15 minutes, the pilot could only glide as the plane dropped thousands of feet, with everyone on board believing they were going to die. But as the plane dropped lower, it finally left the cloud, and the glass began to break off the engines, allowing the pilots to restart all four. The plane landed safely, saving every life on board.
That sounds so freaking scary, bro. Fun fact, Seekers, man, I still have never flown on a plane, man. And that making it any better, bro. They flew over volcanic ash and glass, just got to the wing engines, man. They were just gliding for 15 minutes. Those people was probably, they were panicking, man. See that note that guy was writing, bro? If you guys imagine being up in the air just gliding for 15 minutes, what would you guys do? Tell me down below, man.
Feeding us worm-infested meat, and that's why we're always sick. Look at this.
That's tuna? He said a discount on that one? I'm out.
We all know that pork is an unclean meat, but did you know it was this unclean? Look at this person pulling the worms out of the sausages. That's disgusting. And would you eat this?
Hell no. And I'm about to be a vegan 2026, bro.
Look at the size of that.
You're cooked, bud. If you eat that, you're cooked, bro.
I don't know, guys. After seeing all this, it makes me not want to eat pork or any other meat.
Voodoo is very real. I lived in New Orleans for 23 years of my life. Like 23 of them things. And let me tell you, what old girl was doing in the stands to Patrick Mahomes is as real as it gets. She was really sitting there with a voodoo doll poking at Patrick Mahomes, and he had a horrible game. Horrible. So much that people are calling him washed. The witchcraft in New Orleans is, I'm telling y'all, when you cross over into New Orleans atmosphere, the darkness is so powerful. You feel the darkness. I've been telling people this for years. If you go down to the French Quarter, you go down to off Bourbon, you go down to Canal, you go anywhere down there, and I'm telling y'all, you're going to feel that heaviness and that darkness. I remember one time I was delivering for Amazon Flex, because I was trying to make some extra money. This is back in like 2019, so it's not that long ago. I get out my car, people dressed in regular clothes, your everyday people. I get out my car to deliver. This is late at night. It's like 11:30 p.m. And I'm delivering these boxes. I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm in the streets. I see these regular people. I'm thinking that they're like preaching or having church, right? Because the guy was on the corner talking, and he was saying like very church-like things. But then bro said, all hail Satan, and we give you all this, and we lift this up to you, and witchcraft. And he started saying all these things, divination, and we're going to use this, and we're going to do this. And the whole time they're talking about, there's a whole satanic church. It was a whole satanic voodoo church that they had, that they were doing outside. And there were so many people, black, white, Hispanic, so many different people there. And you would have thought that they were normal people. But no, they were like, oh my God. When I tell you, I drop off that package at the front door, and then I got in my car, and I got ghosts. I took the other packages back to Amazon Flex and said, I'm not doing this no more.
Smart.
So the dark history behind New Orleans and all that, bro, like, it's very dark. I know some stories, very personal to me, of people in my family who have dealt with witchcraft, or people who do witchcraft in my family, okay? And witches don't look how they used to look. They don't look like this. They look like your average person, like the lady in the sea. And so I'm telling y'all, do y'all homework on New Orleans and the culture in New Orleans, because I'm telling y'all, is a little crazy down there. I'm telling. Listen, it's a little crazy down there, and y'all might want to believe this, because she wasn't doing this for no reason, and perhaps that's why Brody had a bad game. I'm just saying.
Here's why.
I think it worked, man. We didn't know what happened to freaking Patrick Mahomes this season, bro. You got a freaking ACL injury, man. And they backup that was supposed to be playing for them got an ACL injury too, bro, like back to back for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. So whoever did that, those two things are knotted up, bro. He had a bad game then, going into the season, bro. He was good for most of the part, but the Chiefs, they just, I guess they couldn't keep up, man. They were just falling apart, bro. So I'm putting 2 to 2 together with that, man. And it's adding up.
Your birth order actually really matters. So the following is part 2 of a 4-part series determining which is the superior sibling. And honestly, middle children, who hurt you? Don't answer that because we already know, thanks to a 2009 survey. Of the 1,000 parents questioned, a third admitted to giving their middle child far less attention than they give to their other two. Goddamn. Plus, perhaps as a consequence of the lack of attention at home, a study on PubMed found that middle children have better social skills and generally have larger friendship groups than firstborns. However, despite tending to have more friends and popularity than their siblings, middle children are 20 to 40% more likely to get in trouble at school and be arrested. And a 2011 study found that a middle child is the most likely out of all of their siblings to work an entry-level position and earn less than $35,000 a year. Now, it's not all bad, because more US presidents were middle children than any other birth position. I think that's a positive. And growing up with an older and younger sibling, middle children tend to develop traits like being a good mediator, negotiator, compromising, diplomatic, conflict resolving, and because they also tend to be more social and more open to new ideas and taking risks, it's led to many discoveries, important theories, and social movements, because just some middle children include Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Charles Darwin, Bill Gates, Zuck, Michael Jordan, John F. Kennedy, and the list goes on. And see you in part 3.
This ain't fashion. This ain't fashion.
What is
kind
that?
of outfit is this, Gunna? Because the people are concerned. That's what they're saying. They're concerned about this outfit, and it doesn't look like drip. I ain't gonna hold you, brother. Oh, he's pointing that finger up to the sky. We don't know what that means. Matter of fact, let's get a closer look at this outfit. What does this mean, Gunna? You could have chose anything else. Why you want to choose skeletons? Why? Oh, you know why. He's down with the club. The club that you can't get into unless you follow certain rules and regulations. And that's why they keep on doing things like this. They don't care what we think about it. They have to do it. You think when Gunna shows up to these shows, he sets things up like this? Nah, it's already set up like that. Long and behold, what the hell is this, bro?
A werewolf.
I think you know what this is because I showed you before. And everybody showed you and everybody told you, but let's not forget, guys, this is just hip hop. Every show, everything is a dark theme. What happened to light? What happened to the light? These people like to be in darkness. Bro, there's no lights in there. Take the shades off, homie. They can't. You see, they can't show you their eyes for some reason. Very interesting. But of course, this video is for entertainment purposes only, and Gunna's the best. His music is fire. And this outfit, even better. I don't know. Let me know. I'm out.
Apparently, the Epstein files had things in them that these people don't want you to know. That's why they keep finding reasons not to drop every file. They were supposed to drop all the Epstein files yesterday. They did. Now they're saying that 16 files, including one picture of President Trump that was in a drawer of Jeffrey Epstein, has been deleted. You heard what I just said? 16 files, plus one photo of the president was deleted. They disappeared. Mind you, people have saved these files already. Go back, and they notice on the website that these files are gone. And I asked you, why did they do that? They showed you Michael Jackson. They showed you Chris Tucker.
Yep.
You have multiple files with Bill Clinton. You have multiple files with a lot of famous people. But they removed 16 of those files. Tell me why you think they did that. And I'm not saying that anything is wrong in those 16 pictures that they deleted. But from the outside looking in, they're making it look like they're hiding something or trying to keep something under wraps. And either way, that doesn't look good at all. There's a movie called Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise. I want you to go look at that movie. And when you look at that movie, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Whatever is in those files, they want to keep under wraps. Because there are a lot of important people in those files. Something don't seem right though. You do the math. I'm out.
People. Yo, speaking of Epstein files, man, this saga, bro, it's always up and down, man. It's like we keep getting these ancillary answers, bro. All people just want is the truth, man. When they dropped all the pages were blacked out and then we're hearing 16 files got freaking removed. What was the point of even dropping them then, man, if we wasn't gonna find out the truth? It just seems like, bro, who's ever behind those Epstein files, man, they got some very big secrets, bro, that I feel like that I know would probably shake the world if the whole truth was revealed. You have all these celebrities messing with them, man. I wasn't expecting more. We saw Chris Tucker, picture with Michael Jackson. I'm like, bro, how many people were around that man, bro? Nothing bad was in those pictures, and so, but it's just like, you can't explain it, man. Truly.
In Dubai is being told to stay inside because of the rain, y'all. Because of the rain, y'all. We talking about Dubai. Desert. People being told to stay inside because of the rain. They said Dubai officials are telling people, don't come your ass outside unless you have to. Y'all see it's already flooded, but they're talking about more rain on the way. They said it was so much rain, y'all, that a lot of streets was covered in water. They had to shut down certain roads because it was so much water. And I hope y'all are paying attention. This is not normal for Dubai. That city is designed for heat, not for heavy rainfall. Whatever they did that day to the clouds, it fucked shit up. It's wild, y'all. It's not even just Dubai. Look at Washington State. Look at Oregon. These places is flooded too. Someone got that faucet leaking, fool.
I heard of the Russian scientist who injected himself with a 3.5-million-year-old bacteria.
For fun? On a dare?
For science.
Oh, okay, good.
So this Russian scientist named Dr. Anatoly Rauchkov, I don't know how to say his name, Rauchkov.
Yeah.
He was in the tundra. They're digging in the permafrost in the tundra.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they discovered this bacteria that was so far down in the permafrost, it went past the woolly mammoths.
Oh no.
But they tested this bacteria on mice, on plants, and the mice and plants lived way longer, and the crops
Oh wow.
thrive, they didn't die as fast when it was cold outside. So what's happening? But they're calling it the elixir of life. They're saying that this thing could contribute to people, animals, and plants all living longer than they should.
Yeah.
Oh man.
In fact, there's a town pretty close to where they found this bacteria, and the people of this town in Siberia live way longer than all the other people in the region. He was basically like, well, I want to try it on myself.
He's still alive?
Still alive, and he said he hadn't had a cold or flu in 2 years since injecting himself. That is a bacteria from first days of creation. That's what made people live so long.
You taking that bacteria if that's the case?
No.
I would take it if it could help me not be so
I heard those stories
take it, they
about
eat it.
people that have died and then came back to life.
Whoa, like a coma?
No. You know how people pass away medically?
Yeah.
But they revived because
Not really.
almost all of them have the same story.
What is it? Another spirit comes into their body?
No.
Oh, okay.
They all say the same thing of they see bright light, and that's why we always hear it, and they're always all filled with a sense of everlasting love, and they all don't want to go back into their regular body.
Why?
Because it felt so loving.
That's fine. So that's like heaven.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Right? They all have the same feeling as if they felt love and they didn't want to go back to their body.
So maybe it is comforting, but we fear it the whole time.
Scientists just put pieces of human and mice brain on a plate and wired it to a computer to play Pong. Here's how it worked. The neurons received tiny signals telling them where the ball was, and when they hit the ball, they got rewarded with a clear, pleasant signal, but when they missed, they got punished with random, unpleasant noise. The neurons adapted their behavior to maximize reward and minimize punishment, figuring out the game through trial and error. And here's the shocking part. They learned faster than AI models trained with identical methods. This proves that brain cells don't need a body, sensory organs, or even a full brain to learn, meaning intelligence is a fundamental property of individual neurons and not something that only emerges from complex brain structures. This opens possibilities for brain-computer interfaces, biological computing using living neurons that are more efficient than silicon chips, and drug testing on neural cultures instead of animals. But it raises profound ethical questions. Do neurons in a dish have experiences? Are they suffering when they receive punishment noise? And where exactly is the line between cells and consciousness? We're creating systems that blur the boundary between living tissue and computing devices before we have answers to fundamental questions about what these neurons might be experiencing. If you enjoyed this, drop a like and comment below. Follow for more stories like this.
You mean Coca-Cola's giving away $240,000 if you find their golden Coke can? So Coca-Cola just released 240 of these golden Coke cans, where if you find one of these Coke cans, they will literally give you $1,000. And some people have literally gooned so far that they have spent over $6,000 or $7,000 trying to find one of these cans. But this is where it gets even more worse. The only way to find one of these cans is that you have to buy a 24-pack of either Coke Zero or Diet Coke. And even more insaner, this says that Coca-Cola 24 packs are 2 for $52, which means that now Coca-Cola is even more expensive than ever now. However, now even more insaner, where some people are dedicating their entire paycheck. But this is where it gets more suspicious, or it seems that people that work at these supermarkets are literally finding it themselves. They are tearing apart boxes to see if they can find the golden Coke can and then putting them back together, seemingly taking the fun out of this entire thing for everybody else. I love me a Coke Zero more than almost anybody else. But I feel like Coca-Cola can do more better than a $1,000 prize. I want a Willy Wonka-like tour of the factory. I want to swim in a lake of Coke Zero. Do you think that the grand prize should be more than $1,000? What's more better, Coke Zero or Diet Coke?
Oh yeah, they're selling 2 packs for $50, bro. Making up like this man making bank. And they're only giving $1,000 prize. You gotta do better than that, bro. He said people were dedicating their people whole paychecks to that, man. And the workers in the back, boy, like I said, they got a head start. They stealing it too. It's rigged from the get-go, bro. Just like the lottery.
All right, today marks 3i Atlas's closest approach to Earth. It didn't bring surprises. It didn't necessarily break the rules. It may have broken the internet a bit, but that's another story. Anyway. It wasn't nothing. I mean, we tracked a visitor from another star system as it passed quietly through our neighborhood, seen by professionals, by amateurs. There was data collected, a lot of head scratching, and we realized that we may not understand these objects the way that we thought. But now, it's on its way back into interstellar space. So 3i Atlas, we bid you adieu. Onward into the dark.
Hey, y'all seen this thing pop up in Mexico, y'all? What is that? Look at this. Look what they caught in Mexico. Bro, y'all, these people were outside looking at the sunset, and then they looked up and they see this thing, man. Everybody been seeing eyes in the sky. Look at, man, I had to slow this thing down to give you guys a closer look to see what I'm looking at, because I see so many things, y'all. First of all, is that an eye in the middle? Like, we've been seeing a lot of eyes lately, y'all. Look at that. It looks like a wheel, a rim. Y'all see that, y'all? Remember, in the Bible it says God is the Ezekiel wheel. It looks like a wheel. And to me, that looks like a wheel. It looks like a rim, y'all. Look at this. This is exactly what it looks like with just a little bit of editing, y'all. Y'all see that? Like the cosmos. It's like the cosmic wheel. Wow, this is amazing, bro. Do y'all remember in Dragon Ball Z where they had to go fight the other universes in this different type of platform? It looks just like that, doesn't it, y'all, right? I'm telling y'all, man, these movies, these animes, they be telling us. It even looks like a variation of Kami's Lookout. So that begs the question, is this what 3i Atlas is? Is this what it is, y'all? Like Project Bluebeam? Because look at that. It looks like some type of plasmoid, doesn't it, right? Like it's generating its own type of field. Look at that. It's crazy.
Ya se ve a simple vista 3i Atlas. Y lo hizo no está bien. Es la nave espacial, la 3i Atlas, estoy seguro que se ve.
Y'all see the sky? Look at that. It even looks like the moon a little.
Totally convinced witches are real after watching this. Humans should not be able to do this, y'all. How is that possible? He's showing you there's nothing attached to these sticks. These are defying gravity and the laws of physics. This is some insane witchcraft.
He changed his eyes, bro.
This guy's either a really good street magician, or he made some kind of pact with the devil and sold his soul to be able to do some of these things. This guy does insane levels of street magic, but it definitely goes beyond just regular card tricks and smaller scale type stuff. But you can go back and watch the video. He definitely didn't seem to have anything attached, no strings attached to these sticks. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
How many times do people have to be told to stop messing with the paranormal, supernature, and the dead? Why do I say this? Because there was a guy who decided to live stream and do some sort of seance and saying he doesn't believe in ghosts. What happened next will scare the living daylights out of you. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, hell no.
I saw that.
Hell no.
I'm out.
Look at that.
1.3 seconds, bro.
This is as clear of an image as I can get off of that video. This is the problem when people tell you not to go out in the middle of anywhere and perform your own type of anything, to call upon anything that you shouldn't call upon, because what's going to happen sooner or later, it's going to show up. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the video, I did not see any watermark on the video that would illustrate to me that it was AI. It could be AI, but it sure as hell does not look like AI. And those screams from him were very, very, very genuine. That did not sound like a person that was faking, oh, I'm scared. That sounded like a person that was terrified.
Yep.
So let me know your thoughts in the comments as to, do you think that video is genuine, or do you think that it's AI? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's the problem, man. We don't know if it's genuine nowadays or AI, bro. AI is getting so advanced, man. They can make a whole video, man. You can barely tell the difference, bro. Just a couple of years ago, you could, but nowadays, bro, you can't tell the difference. What do you guys think, bro? Is that genuine or AI?
Are some of the creepiest videos on the internet, part 5. Most of us know about the Christmas tradition, Elf on the Shelf. If you don't, it's basically a way to make your children behave by inviting a special scout elf that monitors your children's behaviors. Every day, children wake up to look for the elf who has changed places after reporting to the North Pole and back. And although these scouts can be simple or humorous, they also have a dark side. This video shows a family elf named Carol in the first recording asked the elf to tell Santa, "We've been really, really good." After stating his request, the elf darts its eyes to look at the camera before the cameraman sprints off. Although this video was proven to be a hoax and was just animated, there are still those who believe it. Regardless, it's sure to send a chill up your spine.
So the whole thing is
what's
cat.
going on with Miley Cyrus? This was her and her Gucci sponsorship, and something is very off because it's giving like witch. Like it's literally giving witch. And mind you, I don't mean this in a rude way because I love Miley Cyrus, and I'm just like, what does it profit a man to gain the whole entire world but loses his soul? I keep saying this time and time again. But the crazy thing is, it's not just that photo. Like, it's all of the photos. And the eyes, they do not lie. Mind you, she was just with Rick Owens. This is his wife, Michelle Lamey, and we know that she is a self-professing witch. Nothing, she's not hiding it. She's straight raw with it. She did an interview with them and things like that. And I feel like all of this since then, she has been kind of seeming soulless. We talked about Jenna Ortega and a lot of these other artists who seem to have had a light in their eyes before and now they don't. And you have to pose the question, why is that? What is going on? Let me say this again. I love Miley Cyrus. I just don't love what she has become.
This is not fake, and if you do this, your head is literally about to look like this. Now, if you like playing video games at all, you're probably going to want to watch this because this ain't good. A while ago, scientists depicted what the future game is going to look like, and this is you, I guess. Showing people with hunchbacks, weird body features, but there's a main thing on their head. Essentially a big line, like an indent in their head from where they're wearing their headsets all the time. And well, it's come true. A few Twitch streamers a while ago have already noticed they've got this. First one being Curtis, who shaved his head on live stream and literally saw the indent in his head. This then sparked a lot of other gamers to come out, try the same thing, and well, you can see the results right there. Of course, what's caused this is from wearing the headset like all day. I mean, you can kind of see how that would happen. So if you're in school, you come home and you play games all night, Maybe you even have one. Hopefully not, but maybe you do. This has now, over the past few months, become a pretty big thing with a lot of people actually having this. Now, of course, it's not dangerous, it's not going to kill you, it's just not the best thing to have, I guess. But if you're just playing games every now and again, don't worry, it's not going to happen. This happens over quite a long time span. But from what people have been saying as well, once you take the headset off and you don't use it for a while, it does just kind of go away.
Are house parties making a comeback? What you are seeing is footage of an insane Halloween party that got way out of hand and had to be shut down by police. This happened in Woodland Hills, LA, and according to Royal News, who captured this footage, the host initially promoted this party online, selling tickets in advance for just $35, but then charged up to $150 for whoever wanted to pay at the door. But, similar to the real Project X, way more people turned up than anticipated, and things quickly started getting out of control. Dozens of 911 calls started flooding in, reporting injuries from stampedes. A massive fight broke out, people were spilling out into the streets, and the LAPD's air support unit estimated over 3,000 people in that neighborhood alone. When police turned up, one teenager was discovered lying unconscious in the street and was rushed to hospital. Several others were treated for injuries that they sustained in the stampede. And you'd think that most people would condemn this kind of behavior. But 2025's been so rough that people were actually proud, saying things like the earth was healing because the kids are partying again, and that there was still hope for the next generation after all.
If I was Punga right here, I would have popped off on Marlon for what he said. You gotta understand that the mouth hold a lot of power, no digging. So what you say out your mouth can come true. So what he said to Punga is wild as fuck, y'all. Look at this shit.
He ain't, I'm good. You may not be here long. I see something bad in your life. You got like 2 years left. You gotta watch him. Y'all hang out with him now. He ain't gonna be here in 2 years. Don't you look like you look coffin ready?
I don't see how that was funny. I look coffin ready? Fuck, they gonna sacrifice me? Fuck you mean I got 2 years left to live? Boop boop.
KFC.
Oh, I had that steak. Bro, I had that Speaking Steak logo on it, man. So that's, I have to question the validity of that, bro. Could be cut it up and edit it different, man.
Trying to tell us the truth about what we eating without telling us the truth about what we eating. So KFC put out a new ad, and in this new ad, let's just say it's a whole bunch of shit that don't got nothing to do with eating chicken. And for lack of a better words, in that video, it looks like they're saying that they've been feeding us people and not chicken. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Look at this shit. This ain't even a whole commercial. The whole commercial is crazy than this. Look at this shit. So what this mean right here? Oh, no. Look. So you just turned the human into a chicken tender, right? Okay. Leave it in what? And the chicken. And this takes me back to the video that I made about McDonald's selling 6.5 million burgers a day. Where the hell is all of this chicken coming from? What I'll say is this. These people have a way of letting us know what's going on without letting us know what's going on. And that commercial, ad, or whatever you want to call it, just told me everything that I needed to know. See, this is the reason why I don't really like to eat fast food right now. And I'm not telling you to stop eating fast food. You can do what you want. The only thing I'm asking is, how many pieces of chicken do KFC sell in a day? And once y'all tell me that, then we'll understand what's going on over here. These people are selling what? Look at that ad again. Tell me what you think that ad is saying. Because that ad is speaking volumes. I'm out of here.
You guys ever heard of the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia? This archaeologist man was looking at this mountain, and it had perfectly 4 sides. And he's like, that kind of looks like a pyramid. And so he started doing excavations and stuff.
Yeah.
He found these giant stones, perfectly stacked. In the middle of these blocks was geopalmer, which is like an ancient cement. This pyramid was built, based off carbon dating, 35,000 years ago. The Great Pyramid, 7,000. This is where it gets really weird.
he got shut down because Zahi Hawass, the lead Egyptologist in Egypt, pleaded with the Bosnian government saying, don't let him look into this any further.
Weird.
And so the Bosnian government's like, you can't go dig up anymore. The whole story just got swept under the rug. And then over 50 archaeologists came out to observe it themselves, and they're like, this is a pyramid. If you get a satellite image of this place, there's 2 other mountains that have a pyramid shape to them. It's just so weird that every single culture had a giant pyramid.
I never had a Bugs Bunny one, but I had the Boots one.
You didn't have the Boots one because it didn't exist, bro.
No!
Nah, that's cap,
Because
bro.
in the pictures, if you look in the ice cream truck, there's always just a one singular one with Dora, never a partner with it.
Hey, I have a vivid memory of me like eating.
YouTuber just built IRL aimbot for FPS games. Nice. His name is basically Homeless. He created a system that uses AI to detect enemies on screen, then physically controls his arm and trigger finger using electrical muscle stimulation. Here's how it works. A machine learning model called YOLO identifies enemies in real time. A Raspberry Pi calculates exactly where his crosshair needs to move. Then EMS devices send electrical pulses to specific muscles in his forearm, forcing his arm to move and his finger to pull the trigger, all without him consciously doing anything. His body just moves on its own. The system achieves reaction times under 100 milliseconds. That's faster than humanly possible. Normal human reaction time is 200 to 300 milliseconds. But here's the debate. Traditional aimbots modify the game code. Anti-cheat software can detect that. This system doesn't touch the game at all. It modifies the player's body instead. So is it cheating? He's not hacking the game. He's hacking himself. The gaming industry has no rules for this because nobody thought someone would literally electrically control their own muscles to gain an advantage. When someone can achieve superhuman gaming performance by letting AI physically control their body, where do we draw the line between skill and technological enhancement?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if y'all ready for this one. Let's dig deep into Area 51. So we know that most people feel that Area 51 is a place where they experiment, dissect, and hold aliens. But my question is, why and how are they capturing them? If they know that these beings are highly intelligent, why not learn from them? Now we know that there's a special part of the G-MIT that handles these situations, aka the Illuminati, the Cabal, the Shadow G-MIT, whatever they call them, the ones in charge of putting the veil over our head. Just like there are good and bad people on Earth, there are good and bad aliens. The ones who want to keep planets at low vibrations take over them. But you also have good ones who want to bring knowledge, peace, and information. That's how some people think the Egyptians built the pyramids with their help. Now, a lot of people have said that these bad ETs have infiltrated our government already. AKA why you see shapeshifters and all that. Why do millions of people get kidnapped? Why does trafficking happen? Why is there so many low vibrational things happening on this planet? To keep it under the control of these beings. Now, if they're working together, what is the reason for Area 51? Probably to lock the good aliens up who are trying to help this planet, so this matrix can still keep running. I know y'all have seen the sky turning green. Rainbows being shown everywhere. Now in Norse mythology, rainbows represent the gateway to different planets. What if all these rainbows and the sky changing means that these beings are coming back to help us? And it's Area 51's job, with the help of these Greys, the Pleiadian race, to lock up these high vibrational beings when they come down. That's why when people spot them, the G-MIT tries to cover it up and say, oh, they're just conspiracy theorists. But just know that more of the good ones are coming. Just pay attention to the sky and stay dangerous.
All right, 3.
So you guys believe that, man? We got some good aliens, bad aliens out there. That's why they abduct them or take them to Area 51 to keep them separated from the bad ones. That's an interesting theory. Never heard of that before.
AI Atlas just changed fast and quite dramatically, actually. Here's the latest. So, as it hit perihelion as predicted on October 29th, which was yesterday, new data from NASA's STEREO, SOHO, and GHOST 19 shows that the object rapidly brightened and it shifted to a color bluer than the sun itself. That's coming from several sources, one of which is Avi Loeb, who confirmed the change using the fresh imagery that was taken between October 18th and the 24th. So basically a blue color means that it's releasing higher energy. Higher energy particles, likely fresh gas, dust, as it heats up, nearing that sun. And that could tell us a lot about what the object is actually made of. So it's currently behind the sun where it was predicted to be. It still seems to be on the course as predicted. and it shows no signs of fragmentation yet, but it's evolving quickly. So over the next few days, our researchers will be watching to see if the brightness holds or if it collapses, which will give a clue to whether it's going to survive its swing around the sun or not. So I'll keep you posted as new data rolls in, but stay curious, stay grounded.
Thanks for the info update.
This is crazy. Scientists have discovered a brand new colour that no human has ever seen before. Now, they have called this colour Olo. So this colour cannot be seen with the human eye. And it requires a little bit of a trick to be able to see it. So stick with me, I'm going to do the trick with you, and let's see if you can see the colour. So the colour behind me is Olo. And you're probably thinking, yeah, it looks like turquoise. But this colour isn't Olo, because you're looking at it with your human eyes. So to be able to see it properly, we have to stimulate something called the M cones in our eyes. And this is how we're going to do it. So what I need you to do is I need you to hit pause on this video, and I need you to stare at this colour for 60 seconds. Then I will put that Olo colour back on the screen, and I want to know if you see it differently. Is it different? So there is a lot of people saying that they see this completely differently. I have tried the test, and it looks no different to me. Please let me know in the comments.
You guys,
I ain't see nothing.
We are now in the time of prophecy. It just went biblical in China, y'all. What in the Atlantis 2.0 is going on here? Did you guys hear what happened to China, y'all? China, like whole cities are lit. So remember when we talked about that these weather anomalies were popping up out of nowhere? The people that have been impacted by this, of course there are some tragedies. Folks are saying people are missing. I mean, look at this, y'all. And this right here is how you know the storm was really bad, because you have the bridges in China overflowing with water. Y'all, there's no cap on the bridges. How is this even possible, y'all? Huh? You know what I'm saying? China is one of the most ancient places on earth. This is where we used to be. It is full of ley lines, ancient technology, sacred temples, y'all. We're watching a whole reset happening in China, y'all. They're calling this the flood of the century. It has broken records. Wow. Do you guys think you can ever rebuild from something like this? I mean, this is somebody's home, y'all. And that right there is also somebody's home. Wow. Y'all see how the weather's popping off everywhere? Like, who asked for this? I mean, of course we're like, the earth does what it wants, but this right here is crazy, man. You can't do nothing about it. You can only watch it. I hope you guys are paying attention, because this is not just about climate change, y'all. There's a shift within the mist. Let me know what you guys think about this video, y'all. Let's continue to get it.
Just aware, when Jim Carrey played the Grinch, he said he had to sit through 8 hours of painful makeup sessions every day. He said putting on the makeup felt like he was being buried alive. The suit was so itchy and painful that after the first day of filming, he kicked a hole through the wall and was going to quit the movie. So Jim Carrey hired a CIA expert who trained him on how to deal with torture. Buddy Ebsen played the original Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. However, you never actually see him in the movie. This is because the original Tin Man outfit and makeup contained real aluminum, which is extremely toxic. This caused Buddy to be rushed to the hospital where he almost died.
Oh. Those actors, man. Those prosthetics.
Top 5 countries with the longest school days. Australia 6.5 hours. France 8 hours. South Korea 8 hours. Kenya 8 hours. China 9.5 hours.
Here's why you should stop rubbing
that.
your eyes.
That was no joke. You seriously need to stop rubbing your eyes as much, and here's why. Trust me, you might want to favorite this video because you might need this as a reminder in the future. Let's be honest, we're all guilty of this at some point. But I bet you didn't know that continually rubbing your eyes can actually cause really bad damage to your cornea. In fact, it can thin out your cornea, causing it to bulge. I mean, let's go back to the MRI footage. This is someone rubbing their eye, visibly being able to see the pressure it puts on your eye, and the way that the eye can actually change shape, increasing the pressure on your eye by 20 times. And it gets worse if you rub your eyes with your knuckles or the back of your hands. So although the occasional rub probably won't do you any harm, consistently doing it and consistently doing it hard could lead to potential vision loss. So saying this to literally anyone you know, because for their eyes' sake, they need to see this. Elon!
This woman who recently competed in the Olympics in Paris was just murdered. This is 27-year-old Rebecca Cheptegei, and she was a marathon runner in Uganda. Rebecca competed in the women's marathon in the Olympics, and she finished in 44th place. Not long after returning from Paris, on August 31st, she was set on fire by her boyfriend. They identified this man as Dixon Edema, and apparently they were arguing over a piece of land. The attack happened outside of Rebecca's house, and it was said that her daughter tried to help her and save her, but this man had kicked her and also tried to beat her as well. It was said that Rebecca was found by neighbors who heard the arguing, and they were the ones who put out the fire. These burns were so severe it covered 80% of her body, and that's why she did not survive. But her boyfriend was also burned, but it only covered about 30% of his body, and he is now in stable condition. This is so sad, and violence towards women in Uganda is very common. There's actually been a few athletes who have been murdered by their partners in the last few years.
Maps that will...
That needs to change, man. She was literally in the Olympics, and then her whole freaking life trajectory changed, man. That's just for her.
Change the way you see the world. This is a unique visual that shows what the Roman Empire citizens believed was the entire world. This is what Chile looks like stretched across all of Europe. This is what all the uninhabited land in the United States looks like. This map shows the largest employer in each US state. These are the average train speeds across Europe. This map shows the distribution of ticks that are infected with Lyme disease across the United States. This map shows in the United States how many people commit violent crimes per 100,000 residents. This is a topographic map of Europe. This map shows the percentage of population in each Europe country that has never used the internet before. This map is comparing the populations of cities in Greece and Turkey, with each little square representing about 250,000 people. This map shows the most popular streaming services across all the countries in Europe. Can you guess where this puzzle piece is from? You're able to guess what country this is just by the shape.
If you haven't heard about this,
I couldn't get those last two. Could you?
Police across the world are warning people of this literally as we speak, and you would never even realise you've been scammed until this. But there is a new scam which only takes one person to do it in one simple move. And what it does is allow hackers to get into your phone, get access to all your personal information, cards, any single thing you own. So how this works is you'll get a package outside your door, like you would from a brand. It could be Amazon, it could be Pretty Little Thing, anything that you're buying.
Okay.
It could be from a company that you buy stuff from regularly, so you just think, oh, I'm a loyal customer, give me a free gift. You open it up, there could be something inside. It might be a t-shirt, it might be a hoodie, it might be some shoes, whatever. Then there'll be a QR code in there that says, thanks for your loyalty, please scan here. Obviously you're going to scan it. Why wouldn't you? Well, if you scan this QR code, that's where this happens. They will then be able to get into your phone from scanning that link. You literally would not be able to tell that this has happened to you until you see the money going out of your account or something like that. So yeah, if you don't order a parcel, just be wary if there's a QR code in there that it's telling you to scan. Do your research, please, because it could save you a lot of money. Now, of course, please share this video around with anybody you know, friends and family, because I know some of the older generation would scan it in an instant. Without more time, and I will keep you updated. China has just had to urgently...
Nothing is left for free.
400,000 people after they were hit by one of the most powerful super typhoons in over a decade. And for perspective, a super typhoon is equivalent to that of a Category 5 hurricane. All schools in the area that made landfall were shut. Trains, boats, and flights were suspended, and all tourist attractions have been closed down. The winds near its center reached a staggering 145 miles per hour, and this typhoon has doubled in strength after it killed more than 16 people in the Philippines last week. It's now predicted to move along and hit Vietnam this weekend.
Uncommon human traits. Being able to move one eyebrow, 25% of people. Growing a full beard, 1 in 5 men. Having dimples, 1 in 5 people. Going bald, 1 in 8 men. Having an outy belly button, 1 in 10 people. Being left-handed, 1 in 10 people. Having curly hair, 1 in 10 people. Having blue eyes, 1 in 10 people. Having green eyes, 1 in 50 people.
That's very rare. Green eyes, 1 in 50, man. That just shows you that the rarity. I see blue eyes often, but never green eyes, man. It's very rare if I see somebody with green eyes.
Did you know these facts? The Boeing factory is so large they had to install a one-of-a-kind air circulation system to stop clouds from forming inside of the building. This is the world's smallest drawbridge in Bermuda. The US Navy is known to have used Xbox controllers to control the periscopes on submarines. James Cameron was homeless when he wrote The Terminator. He sold the rights for $1 on the condition that he was the one to direct the movie. A race was held in 1888 between a pigeon and a bee for 3 miles, where the bee won by 25 seconds. Camels have 3 eyelids that helps protect their eyes from the blowing sand. Cherries are dried with helicopters. It would take you 18 months to walk the Great Wall of China. The USA speaks more than 350 different languages. Scientists are out there making arguments that we may have more than 5 senses, one of them being magnetoreception, which is the ability to sense magnetic fields, and the other is chronoception, which is the ability to sense time passing.
You won't believe what this man saw during the 2024 solar eclipse. Reddit user Blakester731 said that him and a couple of friends went to watch the solar eclipse at a fishing spot out in the backwater in Tennessee. It was a secluded area that also hosts a small Trail of Tears memorial. They passed the stone monument on their way to go fishing, which acknowledged the removal of the Cherokee from their native land and the tragedies that occurred there. He said that him and his friends gave it their private respects and moved along to the fishing spot. Time passed like any other day out fishing, and they were having a good time. Towards the afternoon, the dark shape of the moon started to move closer to the sun. The woods all of a sudden became very quiet. The sounds of birds, flies, and cicadas all seemingly disappeared. Then the eclipse started, and the world got darker around them. Colors and weird shadows split across the ground. Reddit user Blakester731 said that he was switching from his light-resistant glasses to the landscape around him. He looked towards the trees, and then finally, the moon was full and only the sun's halo showed behind it. He took the glasses off to see it more clearly, and then he says, they were there. He said that they were like reflections and shadows standing around them. There were tall, dark human shapes surrounding them. There were hundreds of them in the woods, behind the trees, and on the shoreline. He screamed and fell out of his chair. His friends then took their glasses off and shot out of their chairs too. They all grouped together and started moving towards their truck. But just as the moon moved off the sun, the shadow figures vanished. The whole thing had lasted less than 3 minutes, but they got out of there as fast as they could.
Gruesome facts.
Hey man, people, they saying they saw different stuff during the solar eclipse, man. That didn't happen like a while ago, like a couple of months ago if I'm not mistaken. So, Seekers, where were you guys at, man, when that solar eclipse happened? I was outside just trying to look up at it with the glasses, making sure nothing weird was going on, but everybody has a different story.
You didn't know, part 219. This is the last video taken of Steven Weber, who proposed to his girlfriend underwater. While on a trip in Tanzania, the couple were staying in a submerged room. Steven swam underwater to the outside of the room with a note and a ring. The front of the note read, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you. But everything I love about you, I love more every day." When he turned the note over, it read, "Will you please be my wife? Marry me?" He then produced a ring from his pocket before swimming out of frame. Tragically, he never made it to the surface and drowned. The Mark Jackson basketball card from 1990 has 2 unique guests featured in the background. The Menendez brothers can be seen sitting courtside after murdering their parents and prior to their arrest. When the SS Daniel J. Morrell began to sink on Lake Huron in 1966, the crew believed they were just moments from being rescued when they spotted lights that they believed was from another boat. To their horror, they discovered that the lights were actually from the severed stern of their own ship. It was barreling towards them under the power of the ship's engine.
Alright, so these are the insects that's usually on your strawberries.
Come again?
So far we got some mites. And it's pretty normal if you want fresh organic vegetables and fruits, they're gonna have bugs on them. Let's see how much are when you rinse them or wash them off. Ooh, looks like just rinsing them for a few seconds got rid of a lot of the insects. Now I will say, even though you wash them off on the outside, there's still the inside, which I'm sure contains plenty of insects because they burrow themselves in. So even when you wash your fruit and veggies, just know there might be insects inside the fruits and veggies as well. Which is a good source of protein, I guess, right?
You die in this VR game, you die in real life. Yes, this video is not fake. This is genuinely something that was just invented, and you won't believe who by. And it's not as crazy a person as you might think, which kind of makes it even more terrifying. It is almost unbelievable the world's first VR headset that literally kills you if you die in the game has just been created. And just quickly, TikTok are now showing you your lookalike on the app. Just tap share copy more, and if you've got one, it will come up. The man who invented it, Palmer Luckey, is a leader in VR, a government contractor, and the creator of Meta's Oculus headset. So this is the real deal. The headset is hooked up to 3 explosive charge modules that sit above the screen. The charges are aimed directly at the user's forebrain, and should they go off, would obliterate the head of the user. He said he created it because only the threat of serious consequences can make the game feel real to you and every other person in the game. He even says that he wants to work on an anti-tampering model that cannot be removed or destroyed. So if you decide to put it on, there is no going back. Thankfully, this headset is not commercially available yet. Would you play this with any of your friends?
Did you know these?
Hell no, man. They trying to freaking, that's saying this VR stuff, man, they trying to make it too weird, bro. Virtual reality is only supposed to be real up until a point. But now, like you said, he wants to make one where can try like lock you in, you can't even take it off your head. Don't buy that VR set, seekers.
Facts. Jesse Pinkman and Walter Jr. were never in an episode of Breaking Bad. Amelia Earhart had a co-pilot when she went missing. Bill Withers wrote the song Ain't No Sunshine while he worked for a factory that built airplane toilet seats. A bear was the first living being to survive a supersonic ejection. Dr. Phil lost his psychology license in 2006, and all guests on his show have to sign a contract that says that they are getting advice from an individual and not a psychologist. Gaming tournaments are now adding clauses to allow judges to penalize players for dirty clothing or terrible odor as much as giving them a full loss. Berlin has still not recovered from its pre-World War II population count. A school principal made a student that was in trouble sit in the basement and read the U.S. Constitution. That student was Thurgood Marshall. He memorized the entire Constitution and became the first ever black Supreme Court justice.
Here's some Disney Channel stars that went to jail, but each time the crime gets worse. Starting off, Mitchell Musso, who played Oliver Oaken in Hannah Montana, was pulled over in 2011 for driving under the influence. He was only 20 at the time and was arrested and released on bail. Because of this, his character was written out of Pair of Kings, and his show Prankstars was canceled. Next up, Adam Hicks, who played Luther on Zeke and Luther and had a starring role in Lemonade Mouth, was arrested a couple times, but most recently for an armed robbery with his girlfriend. His sentencing was delayed multiple times due to mental health evaluations and was eventually given a 5-year sentence. But he's now currently on parole and making music on TikTok. Moving on, Lindsay Lohan was Disney's golden child in the early 2000s, starring in iconic movies such as The Parent Trap, Freaky Friday, and Mean Girls, before getting into trouble with the law. She's been arrested for driving under the influence, drug possession, violating her probation, a theft charge, and has even had a bench warrant out for her arrest. And finally, Phil Lewis, who played Mr. Mosby on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, was arrested and charged for vehicle manslaughter after killing a 21-year-old girl while drunk driving. When they tested his blood alcohol, it was 3 times the legal limit. He was originally given a 5-year sentence, 2 years of probation, and 350 hours of community service, but ended up only serving 1 year due to his work with prison-based theater groups that performed in jails, churches, and schools to highlight the consequences of drug abuse.
That's our childhood, bro. Exposed, man.
Like pandas, right? They'll usually have twins, but since they don't have the facilities to take care of more than one, let's just say Zach might be fine, but Cody getting canceled. Mary Kay might be okay, but Ashley ain't. And that's assuming Big Mama don't roll in her sleep and flatline her first choice. So what Zeus will do is, they'll have twins running shifts with their mom. That way both Cubs have a chance at life. Whole time the desaturated deadbeat is convinced she only had one. Here are some other horrible mothers of nature. The harp seal, because she's actually a good mother. For like 2 weeks, then she leaves the kid on ice even though it won't be able to swim or really do anything for itself for the next 6 weeks. Posting your child to chase more seal peel is negligent. Doing it in God's icebox is outrageous. And pulling that in polar bear country is just diabolical. The scorpion, because she literally carries her entire family on her back to protect them from predators. Pretty f***ing ironic, because if there is enough food around, she'll take some of the brood off her back and have herself a kid's meal. This guy, and I think you know why, because marsupials like quokkas, wallabies, and kangaroos will evict their child out the pouch as a last resort against predators. Logically, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Morally, it puts you in the class of Casey Anthony. this welfare fraud with wings. Not only do they con other birds into raising children they have no parts in, it is scientifically documented that cuckoos will use mob violence to force them to do it. So to be fair, the first thing the cuckoo chick does is yeet every foster sibling out the nest. And when you're born that much of a cockwife, there isn't much hope for your future, the more you know.
During World War II,
Well, you know, he said it.
They wanted to take back Ramree Island from the Japanese. So on January 21st, 1945, British and Indian infantry stormed the beaches of Ramree to try to take it back. As soon as they land, they have all this naval artillery support bombing the crap out of this airbase, but the Japanese do not want to surrender, and instead they give up the airbase that they were on, so the British take that back, and the remaining 1,000 Japanese soldiers started retreating to the opposite end of the island. But the only issue with this particular retreat was they would have to go through 10 miles of mangrove swamp. So that night, as the British are just kind of hanging out in their boats staring at the swamp, they start hearing screams coming from inside of this swamp. It's Japanese soldiers. Then you hear gunfire, and then silence. And the British are watching this like, do we have troops in there? What's going on in there? What was going on in there is defined by the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest massacre of humans caused by animals. And not just any animal, saltwater crocodiles. Saltwater crocodiles are notorious night hunters. So what probably happened is the Japanese got inside of this mangrove. The crocodiles were immediately aware of their presence, but they waited until nighttime before they started having a feeding frenzy. And at the end of their retreat, when the Japanese did get to the other side of this swamp, only 500 of the 1,000 made it out the other side. And so to this day, people stay far away from Ramree Island because there are so many of these man-eating saltwater crocodiles that have no issue ripping you to shreds.
Whew. Dark time of history. Never knew that, man. Watching these clips always expands my knowledge base.
Is it actually dangerous to tickle a stingray? Tickling a stingray, as depicted in a viral video where a man appears to make a stingray laugh, might seem like a harmless and amusing interaction. However, experts caution against such actions for several reasons. And just quickly, check if you've got any free TikTok tokens to claim. Tap share, copy, then more, and you'll see if you have any. Primarily concerning the safety and well-being of the animal. Stingrays, like many aquatic creatures, are not accustomed to being handled by humans, especially in ways that are unnatural to them, such as tickling. These animals are adapted to life in water, where they have evolved specific behaviors and responses to their environment. Interactions like tickling can be stressful and potentially harmful to stingrays. They may not have the same sensory responses as mammals, and what appears as laughter or enjoyment is likely a misinterpretation of their natural reaction to an unusual stimulus. Furthermore, stingrays have defense mechanisms, including the well-known sting in their tail, which they use when they feel threatened or stressed. Attempting to tickle or otherwise interact closely with a stingray can provoke this defensive response, posing a risk of injury to the person involved. From an ethical standpoint, respecting wildlife and maintaining a safe distance is crucial for the conservation and well-being of these animals.
Top 3 creepy last words
tickle a
people said
stingray.
right before dying.
Simple.
A nurse who wants to remain anonymous said that she had a sweet patient named Ella who started to lose herself to dementia. She started talking to herself. Most of the time it was playful. She would laugh to herself. One day, the nurse walked into her room and she was in a complete panic. She had her blanket pulled up to her chin and she was completely pale. The nurse went to her bedside to ask her what was wrong, and she said, "There is a woman in black looking in my window, and I am just petrified of her smile." The nurse said that it shook her hard. Reddit user Simple Simon 6262 said that when he was a student, he got called in on a stroke patient. She had coded and they were doing CPR. They worked for 45 minutes. But she died. They cleaned her up and called on her family to say goodbye. By the time her family left, she had been both brain dead and without a pulse for over 45 minutes. He said that blood had filled her brain and she was completely gray and had started to smell. Suddenly, she sat up and called for her family. The nurses rushed to get equipment and monitors back on her. She stabilized, said goodbye to her family, and promptly died a second time. Reddit user AJH1717 said that he works in a cardiovascular surgical ICU. He said that they had a stretch of nights where each corner room of their unit reported seeing a black cat walking around. Not a friendly cat either, apparently. The thing was hissing at them. The accounts were so similar to each other that they probably spent half an hour looking for the cat. Then they had security look as well. No cat was ever seen or found. 2 of those 4 patients coded the next day.
Have scientists just proven that we actually live in a simulation? I cannot believe what I'm about to tell you. Trust me, you're going to want to favorite this video because this could actually change the world.
Break it down for us.
Essentially, the new laws of physics support the concept that we are living in a computer simulation. Now please, stay with me. This is all being researched by a man named Melvin Vopson. A name which after this video you're probably going to want to bring up in your next therapy appointments. Claiming that we are all characters in an advanced virtual world. He claims that the physical behavior of information in our universe resembles the process of a computer deleting and compressing code. And do you want to know what that means? So the fucking I. However, it's his next quote specifically that makes me go, "Wah!" Clue that perhaps the machines hope we don't notice. You're right, Melvin, mate. These are some bold claims that we are absolutely living in a computer simulation. Bold enough claims to give Matthew nightmares. There is so much more on this, including the fact that he believes symmetry in our world is the clue to everything, saying that all biological life presents some form of symmetry. As well, solids and crystals also have symmetry, because apparently symmetry is the best way of optimizing and rendering a digitally constructed world. That's why we have symmetries everywhere rather than asymmetries. I'm way too deep down this rabbit hole. What do you think, computer simulation or real life?
See, because what do you guys think, man? We in a simulation? You guys know what my background is, so. Is it true, man? We in the Matrix, bro? We just don't know it yet? We gotta wake up, bro. Rage Against the Machine, man. I'm definitely gonna have to check up that, man. Sounds like a deep rabbit hole, bro. Sounds worth it, though.
This whole Smart Schoolboy 9 situation just got far crazier. I cannot believe I'm actually saying this. So I'm sure you're all very aware of this whole Smart Schoolboy 9 situation. It's going crazy on social media right now. Since this whole thing came out, it's finally been revealed what his face actually looks like without the makeup and weird clothes on. And yeah, it is just like, this guy's a full-on 59-year-old man. What is bro doing? There he is. Still fully dressed up. Now, since this whole thing broke, there has been many people coming forward saying about their interactions with him. Apparently he even has links to the guy who made salad fingers, so that explains it. We know his name appeared in this news article about school uniforms and how they're good, but many people claiming they've seen him out and about dressed like this, chasing them. Apparently he's had multiple run-ins with the authorities who have raided his house before and found very bad things. But these are all just allegations, so no one knows for sure. But what we do know is that some of the videos are real, and I wish I could put them here, but I can't because they'll just get taken down. Videos of this guy doing some truly disturbing things and full-on chasing people. As I say, I can't post it here, but link in my bio to my full YouTube video if you want to go and watch that. But yeah, there is so many new things coming out about this guy. Apparently he's being looked into by the authorities right now, but who knows. But yeah, any more disturbing stuff I literally can't post here will be on my YouTube. But hit that follow button here, and I'll keep you updated with any new things that come out here.
Gruesome facts.
I seen that, man. That's that Smart Bro School 9 videos be trending everywhere on TikTok, YouTube. That's just everywhere, man. That just sounds like a freaking creepy case. I could check out a video, I guess, on YouTube if you guys seek it, if you want me to do that.
You didn't know, Part 225. In 1559, King Henry II of France was participating in a jousting tournament. During a match, he was severely wounded in the eye and brain by a splintered lance. He died of his injuries 10 days later, with his death leading to the decline of jousting as a sport in France. Actress and Playboy centerfold Yvette Vickers was last seen in 2010 after withdrawing from her family and friends. When neighbor Susan Savage noticed cobwebs on the mailbox, she went inside to investigate. Upstairs, she discovered her mummified body. Lieutenant Colonel William Henry Rankin is one of only 2 known persons to survive falling from the top of a cumulonimbus thunderstorm cloud. He was forced to eject from his jet when his engine failed. It took him 40 minutes to finally reach the ground. During his descent, he suffered from frostbite, and severe decompression caused his mouth, eyes, ears, and nose to bleed.
40 minutes just free falling on top of the cloud.
What you just saw is the United States Coast Guard raiding a high-speed submarine in the Eastern Pacific Ocean moving more than 17,000 pounds of cocaine. On June 18th, 2019, a Coast Guard surveillance aircraft tracked and intercepted The drug-filled narco sub hundreds of miles off the Colombian-Ecuadorian coastline. The video shows a member of the Coast Guard riding on top of the speeding submarine. He then starts pounding on the hatch and demanding it to come to a stop. 3 other Coast Guard members then jump ship and board the 40-foot-long submarine. The video then continues, and you see the presumed trafficker emerging from the submarine hatch with his hands up, surrender. And in total, 5 alleged smugglers were seized on board the vessel and were handed over for prosecution by the United States Drug Enforcement Administration.
Are these your friends, the police?
Now, just watch the full encounter unfold. It's honestly something straight out of a video game.
What's he yelling? I'm trying to say what the hell is he saying? This is something like out of a video game, out of a movie. I just jumped on it. Whew. Have to freaking balance being on top of that too.
To make sure that these criminals survive long enough to have that justice served.
Terrified they. Then yesterday they released the popcorn bucket, man. For these movie theaters and 8 popcorn buckets, crazy. Meet him?
This poor girl was essayed by her father for 12 years, had 3 children with him, all while her grandparents knew. This all happened in West Virginia. Alexandra Thomas was only 9 years old when her father, Kenneth Cook, began essaying her. She gave birth to her first child at 16, her second child at 18, and her third child at 20 years old. This is her dad's Facebook account. It says Daddy's Baby Girls. Disgusting. Alexandra said that at the age of 9, she tried to tell CPS, but her grandmother worked very closely with them and told them that she was lying. She said that her grandfather also knew what was going on, but he wasn't surprised and just didn't care. She said that her father threatened her multiple times that if she said anything again, he could make her disappear. She wasn't allowed to have a phone, friends, and he kept her away from her mother's family so that this secret wouldn't get out. Alexandra posted this on Facebook, and basically she said that her youngest was born with severe health issues and stayed in the hospital for the first week, but since her father was scared that the truth would be exposed, he forced her to keep the baby at home, all while he needed medical attention. This disgusting family secret was finally revealed one day when the youngest child was found malnourished. He was only weighing 6 pounds at the age of 1. That's when they did a genetic testing and found out that Kenneth and Alexandra were related. This monster faces more than 150 charges, and his parents can also be charged because they knew this entire time and they never reported it.
This is trypophobia.
The world is going to a freaking dark place, dark hole, man. The grandparents knew and they did nothing to try to stop it. They just ignored us. Hey, ain't my problem. Come on, man. People need to be better, plain and simple.
Phobia test, Extreme Edition. Can you make it through all 5? Let's find out. Start the test. Number 1. How about this?
I'm cool.
Halfway through. Feeling uncomfortable yet? Last one. If you couldn't make it to the end, then you could have trypophobia, which is the fear of clusters of small holes or patterns. Follow now to see if you can make it through the next extreme phobia test.
I made it. Where was she at?
If you're scared of snakes, this video will probably be your worst nightmare. This absolute unit of a snake is called the Titanoboa, and they existed over 60 million years ago. These things were slithering around at almost 50 feet long, and let me just put that into perspective for you. That would be like lining up 8 Shaquille O'Neals from head to toe, and we know that dude's massive. Now, God didn't want to make them too overpowered, so he didn't give them any venom, but he did give them the ability to be amazing swimmers and even faster than a racehorse when moving on land. land. Now, although the Titanoboa doesn't have any venom, it is a constrictor, so when it catches its prey, it crushes the absolute soul out of it. Its jaw then unhinges, allowing its mouth to open wide enough to consume a whole human, alligator, really anything else. You might be thinking, with all this power, how did this beast go extinct? Well, it's not because they skipped leg day. No. You see, when the Earth cooled down, they couldn't maintain their metabolism anymore and went extinct. You can thank God that they're not around today. Make sure you share this video with someone who hates snakes.
Today I'm going to show you one of the scariest things on the internet. When is the last time any of you guys have actually checked your spam folder? Well, today I got really bored and I was checking my emails and I clicked on my spam folder and I came across this. This is a spam email and it is basically threatening me that if I don't send $1,300, they're going to ruin my life. Firstly, I already know you and all of your loved ones very well. Secondly, the occasion for which I'm writing to you is not the happiest one for a friendly greeting. The next part of this email then proceeds to tell me that it has access to my webcam and that it's been monitoring my activity for the last few months and I've been up to some not good things. Apparently, I've been watching a highly controversial video, they recorded it. Then they proceed to tell me that they have access to my entire contact list and they're going to be sending this controversial video they recorded of me to all my friends, colleagues, and family. Here is the bad part. I can go further and put all of these files as well as the recorded fun of you and your hacked contents with hardcore videos. Then they proceed to say, send me $1,300 and I won't send it. Well, that got me really interested because I was like, there's no way people are actually dumb enough to fall for this scam. Right? They have made a total of $4,547. So that makes me wonder, what type of videos are these people who are sending the money watching? Look, I'm not telling people to do this, but they've made about $5 grand in like 4 days. Not that bad. But the real question is, what type of videos were these people watching where they felt scared enough to actually send the money? Be sure to like and follow for more videos tomorrow.
He's actually asking important questions, man. They sent $1,300 here. What were they watching, bro? They must have been watching something they wasn't supposed to, man. They were that scared. Because obviously you can tell that was a fake email, but it scared him to the core. He was doing something they weren't supposed to be doing.
Morbid Facts, Part 10. When 13-year-old Ryan White got AIDS from a blood donor in 1984, he was only given 6 months to live. Even though doctors said he posed absolutely zero risk to other students, Ryan was banned from returning to school by a petition signed by 117 parents. An auction was even held to raise funds to keep him out, and a local newspaper that supported him received death threats. The family had no other choice but to leave town when a bullet was shot through the window of their home. Ryan outlived the doctor's diagnosis by 5 years, dying at the age of 19. In 2009, Moscow native Julia Popova was stabbed in the neck by a mugger, but she was in so much shock that she walked home without even realizing that the knife was embedded in her, just millimeters from her spinal cord. She spent over an hour with the blade in her back before finally going to the hospital. The knife was successfully removed via surgery, and Julia made a full recovery. Dutchman Dirk Willems was a religious prisoner who escaped his execution in 1569. When the guard chasing him fell through the ice in a nearby river, Willems turned around to save him. He was then recaptured and burned at the stake. Your lungs have a total surface area of 750 square feet, meaning if they are opened up and laid flat, they would cover the entire size of a tennis court. In 1977, the drummer for Lynyrd Skynyrd, Artemis Pyle, survived the plane crash that killed half the band. He then walked to a nearby house for help, only to be shot by the homeowner. He was apparently startled by the sight of a long-haired, bloody man, and fired a warning shot that hit the drummer in the shoulder. Once Pyle shouted that there was a crash, the farmer helped him and he went on to recover.
Just wait for the video at the end where you see this giant thing submerged. It's beautiful. It's not. This is the gigantic crocodile animatronic used for the 1999 movie Lake Placid. Look at the animatronics mechanics that are going to be completely submerged, including most of it. And this is how absolutely massive it is. It was made by Stan Winston and his crew, and they're geniuses. It's great, but this horrifies me. I'm suing. Like, here's it in the water, mostly submerged, with bro up there. I could never, you could not pay me to be a guy in the freaking water like this. No. Like, could you ever get in the water with this thing? With this gigantic crocodile animatronic? No. Nah. This is the gigantic rig that is actually the, like, skeleton of the crocodile that's completely submerged. Like, look at this. Look at this. Knowing it's completely submerged in the water, I hate it. Look at this one. What's that underneath him? That's a person that's like fixing things underneath it. Let's look at it again. Could you ever do that? They use a giant winch to put it in the water. Like, why? They could have completely used CGI. They should have. I'm scared. This is one of the worst ones for me. Watch this video and let me know what you're thinking. And could you ever be in the water with that?
Imagine seeing that, man. You don't even think that's an animatronic. You would think that was real. You really can't tell the difference.
Here are some signs that you won't believe actually exist. Alright, here's the first one. Please do not stand, sit, climb or lean on zoo fences. If you fall, animals scare you and that might make them sick. Thank you. This container transports a disease which has no cure. Why? Danger, if you fall in the pond, you will be boiled. Attention, make sure the door is closed tightly so bears can't get in, thank you. Why would bears be getting in? What the f? Really hoping the same sign is on the entrance of the slide. Oh, surely it isn't. Do not grab Hamish by the horns. I will not grab Hamish by the horn. If elevator does not move, do a small jump, it should move after. Nah, why would it move? What? Danger, do not get on elevator with one of these. If it leaks, you'll die. Why would someone get an elevator with one of these? What?
Behind me is 14-year-old George Stinney Jr. And at the age of 14, he was falsely accused of killing 2 girls. This happened 80 years ago, and this little kid was sentenced to death by the electric chair. They found the bodies of 2 young girls by George's house, so they automatically blamed him, even though they had no evidence whatsoever. On top of the false accusations, he spent 81 days in jail without even seeing his parents, and he was 80 miles away from his hometown. And he also did not get treated well. He didn't even have a lawyer in his presence during the time of questioning, and he was a kid, so he doesn't know better. He also did not receive a fair trial. The trial lasted 2 hours, and then it was handed down in 10 minutes. His parents weren't even allowed in the courtroom, and then they were banned from the city. On the day of his execution, he was carrying a Bible with him, and then they had to prop him up on that same Bible because he was too short for the electric chair. 70 years later, they overturned this conviction, saying that this case didn't make any sense. Apparently, the girls died because blunt force trauma by a beam. George is way too small to lift that beam up, so they were like, there's no possible way. But the damage was done. This was 70 years, way too late. The Green Mile by Stephen King was inspired by this story. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
Let's see if you have thalassophobia. I'm going to show you 5 photos. If you feel too uncomfortable to make it to the 5th photo, then you could have thalassophobia. So let's go. First one. How about this?
I'm cool.
Feeling uneasy yet? Almost there. Last one. If those images made you feel uneasy, then you may have thalassophobia, which is the fear of deep bodies of water. So let me know if you discovered a new phobia down below.
But I wouldn't go that deep in water, so I think the last one got me, man. I'll never go that deep. That ain't for me. Somebody in there with him? Yep.
This film director was found stabbed to death inside of her London home. One thing was missing, it was her diamond-encrusted Rolex, and they think that is the motive for the murder right now. Her name is Jennifer Abbott, but she was known professionally as Sarah Steinberg. Now here's the crazy part, she was found by her niece and neighbors, and when they found her, she had tape over her mouth. Somebody stabbed her, maybe taped her mouth before they stabbed her, and then took her stuff and headed out. On top of this, she was found wrapped in a blanket on her bed. She was last seen walking her corgi on June 10th. Now that same very corgi was found alive. However, it was locked in the bathroom for 3 days, so it's a miracle that thing even survived. The niece was panicking that something was wrong with her aunt when she showed up initially. She got the neighbors, and the neighbor's son ended up breaking the door down. People are saying she also had stomach cancer and recently underwent surgery right before her death, which makes me think personally, somebody must have heard something, maybe she went through surgery and was recovering, and then that made her the perfect victim for their attack. Of course, she's a very successful director. She's going to have expensive things probably laying around her home. Do you guys think there's something fishy behind the scenes? Let me know.
Was this woman saved by her guardian angel? Joan wrote on Catholic.org that when she was 21, she was heading to a club with 2 friends.
She said that as she got ready, she started feeling really odd. Then she said that it became clear to her that her and her friend were going to get into a car accident and she would not walk away from it. This was before cell phones, so she had to wait for her friend to tell her that she could not go with her since she had already left her house when Joan had this revelation. When Joan opened the door to tell her friend that she would not be going, she said that she felt a strong hand on each of her shoulders holding her back, even though she was completely alone in the room. Once she told her friend that she could not go with her, she said that the hands and the odd feeling went away. On the way home from the club, her friend got into a car accident and totaled the passenger side of the car where Joan would have been sitting. She was fine, but the passenger side of the car was completely destroyed.
I need to know how you feel about abandoned water parks, because if you're anything like me, you hate this. Look at this in the water. That shouldn't be there. That's supposed to float, not sink. Why is abandoned places, number one, terrifying, but also abandoned amusement parks and water parks so much worse? This image with the graffiti, that's actually beautiful. I don't like this though. This is still water. Icky. We got Cosmo and Wanda, or more recently, Elphaba and Glinda. The pipes in the water of this one in particular sends me over the edge. I have a huge phobia of pipes and water. Call me stupid, make fun of me all you want. This is icky, and I know I'm not the only one. Imagine that you're exploring an abandoned water park late at night, and you decide to go in there, and you get stuck, and there's no one to save you. I don't like that. Why am I scaring myself? Like, that's not safe, dude. That's not, please get down. Please get down. I'm gonna call your mom.
It really is.
Like, why? Why do people do this? I just don't like the fact that nature is taking this place back. It's beautiful. Terrifying, though. So, yeah. How do you feel? Terrifying, right? Or am I dumb yet again?
Maybe I go exploring. Abandoned water park during the day, but not during the night. I don't know what creepy crawler's gonna try to come out. So yeah.
World's most dangerous conspiracy theories. This picture represents conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these theories say once you learn the truth, there's no return. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach tier 10, the point of no return. Tier 10 is so scary that some people are saying that I will die before I even reach tier 10. Okay, tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is defined as the search for animals whose existence is disputed. For example, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and the Loch Ness Monster. For this one, I want to talk about the Ningen. The Ningen is based in Japan. It's an aquatic humanoid creature that can be larger than a whale but also mutate into a human. I know what you're thinking, no way this is real. I thought the same thing until I saw this. In 2007, a company published a magazine with Ningens on the cover. The magazines were completely destroyed with no trace, but I found the PDF file of what it looked like. It gets even weirder. Early February 2013, a huge mysterious object washes ashore that makes locals freak out. 3 days later, the website was taken down without a trace. Doing some more research, I found out that people from Japan created a forum page talking about all of the government corruption that was happening. They then began to speak on the Ningen, and somebody says that he was on the research ship when they captured it on camera, and then government officials raided the boat and even supposedly killing some of the people. 3 days later, the forum page was taken down without a trace, but I found it once again, and take a look at one of the videos somebody posted. So what do you think? Is this Ningen just some myth, or is the government hiding something much darker? This was only tier 1. Make sure to follow to see tier 2 because we have a lot more to cover.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. Registered nurse Shirley Smith said that she had a very rich patient who was of cancer. The patient had upside down crosses and a Satan's Bible by her bedside. Shirley said that she will never forget what happened. It was the middle of the summer, and yet it was so cold and dark in her room that you couldn't even stand it, even in the middle of the day. She said that it got so evil feeling in there that she had to call a priest to pray with her and her aides before they would even enter the room. When the patient passed away, she had not spoken in over 24 hours. And then all of a sudden, she sat straight up and said, "Satan, take me." and then she fell back on the bed. Shirley said that after she passed, the room got bright and extremely warm. Shockingly, when they moved the patient's body, they had to get rid of the mattress because where her body had been, it looked burnt, and the most horrible smell was emanating from the mattress cover. Needless to say, Shirley went to confession immediately because she did not want an evil spirit around her. A nurse said that one of their patients had a serious recurrence and had to be admitted. Over the course of several nights, he had become quite upset during rounds. He kept asking for his wallet, saying that he had to pay the ferryman. The medical student on rotation in the department took a quarter out of his pocket and put it in the patient's hand. The patient then dropped the coin into the cup on his bedstand and calmed down. Later that night, he passed away quietly. The nurse asked what happened. The medical student, who remembered his Greek mythology, said that the patient had to pay Charon, the ferryman, to be taken across the river Styx. A nurse said that he was doing rounds at a hospital. There was one two-patient room, and one of the patients was a very loud and confused woman who could be quite a handful. On this particular night, she had a roommate who had passed away shortly before the nurse entered the room. She was DNR, so there was no code blue. When he entered the room, he noticed that the elderly lady, who was usually very loud and confused, was sitting quietly with her hands crossed neatly upon her lap. Something was different, and there was this look of serenity on her face. She asked him in a voice that seemed much younger and clearer than before, "Did you see them, young man? They're so beautiful." He said, "No, ma'am, there's no one else here." She said, "They're right next to you, talking to Mrs. Banneker. The angels. They're so beautiful." He said that he instantly felt every hair of his body stand up, and an electric tingle course up and down his spine. "They're not here for me this time," she said sadly.
Today we're going to be talking about some of the absolute worst shark animatronics, most of them underwater. Let's go. This image, I hate it. This guy that's on a dark ride, I don't like this one at all. Here's another version of it when it pops out of the water more. Who did this? Here's another image of the same shark with the track right by it. That is sickening, completely submerged like that. This image completely plagues my nightmares of the Jaws animatronic for the movie. This one's actually super interesting. Her name is Daisy, and she is a shark animatronic that looks super, super realistic. And she is rented out for people to like make movies and stuff of her. But here's an image of her being transported in the water, and she looks kind of goofy. This isn't an animatronic, but this image freaks me out every single time I see it. I'm pretty sure it's CGI, and it is from Deep Blue Sea, the best shark movie ever made. Another Jaws animatronic picture. I hate this one. All the tracks and all the animatronics, some mechanophobia coded. Hate it. This one has braces, and that red eye is freaking me out. Here's one of the Jaws animatronics without face skin if you needed to have nightmares tonight. There you go. These animatronics, oh my god, the fact that they're in the water is so sickening like that. Like, why? Sharks are the scariest because of their completely black eyeballs. Like, they have no, like, whites of their eyes. They're just, like, these black, just creepy, creepy eyes. I don't like them. You would have to pay me at least $500 to get on this ride, this Finding Nemo ride. The fact that Bruce sticks his head out like that. Like, look at him side-eyeing, dude. I don't like looking at this picture at all. And, of course, the Jaws animatronic at the Japanese Universal Studios. The worst. The fact that it is huge and it is in that water like that. Hate it. Which one was the worst for you?
This is what would happen if you stopped sleeping. After the first 24 hours, you would feel great, which is because early on, sleeplessness stimulates a part of your brain that causes you to feel happy and energetic. But not long after this 24-hour mark, you'll start to feel sluggish, be forgetful, and appear drunk to other people. After 2 full days of not sleeping, your body would appear to lose all its energy and feel like it's shutting down. Just because your body can't properly metabolize glucose without sleep. After 3 days, your skin would become pale, your eyes would become red, and you'll start to hallucinate. Which means that your worst nightmares are going to appear real right in front of your eyes, kind of like sleep paralysis, but you're awake. And after 2 full weeks, your immune system would be so weak that the common cold would be enough to unalive you. And after 3 full weeks, there's a super high chance that you'll have a heart attack. But let me know, what was the longest you ever went without sleeping?
This married teacher cried as cops arrested her after they found out she had sexually abused a student 45 times. And apparently she had groomed that student since he was 14 all the way up to about age 16. She'll face nearly 60 years in prison if she's convicted and found guilty. Apparently, the teenage student's mother was going through his phone and found disturbing texts between the teacher and her son. She decided to contact the school board and the police to get to the bottom of what's going on. As of today, she has resigned from her teaching job. And then, like I said, there was 45 counts of her and the student engaging in sex and stuff like that. Whether that was in school, before school, at her own home, everything. They found thousands of texts confirming what the boy's mother was saying too. When police confronted her, she claimed that the student was just some sort of stalker that was obsessed with her. And also, the husband had no idea what was going on. He just knew the student as some soccer player at the school. And that's when the text messages got pulled up. As of right now, she's denying any sexual relations with that student. And then they pulled from her notes app and found a memoir of things she was mad about. Apparently, she was mad that the teenage boy was not picking her as the first choice or something like that. She was literally just venting in her notes app about this kid. A 30-year-old grown teacher. Let me know your thoughts.
She was sacrificed by 3 teen boys so that their band could make it big and even inspired the movie Jennifer's Body. Elise Pollard was born on April 26 of 1980 in Arroyo Grande, California. Her parents raised her as a Christian and had a strong connection with their beliefs. On July 22nd of 1995, 15-year-old Elise was reported missing. For about 8 months, no one could find a trace of Elise and her case went cold. The case opened up when 17-year-old Royce Casey admitted to taking the life of Elise with 2 other teenagers. He led police to mummified remains of Elise at a grave that was only a quarter mile away from her home. The 2 other teens involved were 16-year-old Jacob and 15-year-old Joseph, and the 3 were all arrested and charged. According to Royce, they picked Elise because she was a blonde, blue-eyed virgin, and they were going to sacrifice her so that their metal band would make it big. Once the boys picked Elise as their victim, they stalked her for weeks and to find the best way they could get her away from school and to hang out with them alone. When they successfully lured Elise away from the school, they took her to a grove with the promise of substances. They attacked her from behind, put a belt around her neck, and strangled her. They all took turns stabbing her when she was left with 12 stab wounds. As these boys were attacking and kicking her body, Elise was praying to God for help and calling out for her mom. Elise eventually bled to death with her 12 stab wounds. But the torture didn't stop there. Once she had passed away, the boys essayed her body. Royce was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 21 years, and it's probably because he confessed to the police. Jacob and Joseph were both sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 26 years. In 2021, Royce was up for parole, and he stated that he was a changed person, he felt remorse, he even got an education while he was in prison, but he was denied. Many think that the movie Jennifer's Body is based on this case. In the movie, Jennifer is taken to the woods by these band members. They end up sacrificing her so that their band can make it big. But in the movie, she becomes a vampire and takes the life of guys.
Man, we know, man, how these movies and shows will be based off of real true stories, so that's not that far of a leap. It's a chilling case.
Would you ever visit this abandoned park that has a bunch of massive busts of old presidents? You know, I don't think I would. It used to be a lively place, but it closed in 2010, and some guy bought all of the busts and put it on some abandoned land. And it looks like this now. This is horrifying. I don't like this. This is how big a human is in comparison to all of these. That's just sickening. Can you imagine going there after dark in this abandoned area with all these massive... I couldn't do it. Also, this is Abraham Lincoln. If you know, you know. Like jail. Did someone do this on purpose, or was it a weird coincidence? This is kind of cool with all the plants on it. Still terrifying though. I have megalophobia, which is fear of huge things, and then abandoned places mixed together. No, thank you.
Ain't good.
I think George Washington's about to square up. Does anyone know which president this is that's missing the jaw though? This is horrific. But yeah, here's another picture of it. Would you go here? Some of them are missing the top of their heads. They had their wigs snatched. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to go, but also I would be terrified I'd poop.
She found out that her husband was cheating on her, so she cut his private part off. In 2015, Feng Lung from China had found out that her husband was sending emails to another woman. Her husband Fan had used her phone to send these emails, but he forgot to log out of his account. Fan was asleep in their bed when this happened, and without thinking twice, Fung grabbed a pair of scissors, walked over to him, and cut his private part off, and it was completely detached from his body. Fan was rushed to the hospital, and doctors were successfully able to reattach it and treat his injuries. Fung was unhappy that the doctors were able to do this, so she snuck into the surgery center and attacked her husband again. She did the same exact thing to Fan, but this time she threw it out the window. There was blood pouring from Fan's groin area, but he still went outside to go look for it. As he was running outside, Fung ran after him to try and attack him again, but that's when he punched her in the face. Hospital staff were able to separate the two, and Fan was treated for his new injuries. Unfortunately for Fan, doctors nor police were able to locate his private part. Fung ended up being arrested and charged with grievous bodily harm.
AI can now officially read your dreams. When you look at anything like this grass field, your brain's neural pathways form a specific pattern, sort of like a heat map. And every possible thing you look at or can even imagine has its own unique pattern. When you dream, your brain behaves much the same way, forming brain frequency patterns based on what you're dreaming about. Well, Asa Raskin from the Center for Humane Technology announced that they've done some tests, and what they discovered is impressive but incredibly alarming. They put a test subject inside an fMRI machine, which can read brain activity, and had them look at an image, in this case an image of a giraffe, and the machine mapped out their brainwave pattern. They then hid the image and fed only the brain map data to an AI image generator, probably a little more advanced than Midjourney. An AI that has never seen the original image of the giraffe, nor had access to an internet database that stored the original image either. It then generated, strictly based on the fMRI brain map data, what it determined that the person was looking at, and this is what it produced. Not exactly the same image, but I don't think you understand what it means that AI can now turn this into that with this level of accuracy. And we're still quite early in this technology, so it's only getting better from here. Then they took it a step further. They showed the test subject in the fMRI machine a video, and on top of generating what the subject is seeing, they also wanted to find out if the AI can read your inner monologue, the words you think to yourself in your own mind that no one else knows about. The test subject watched this video and was told to narrate what was going on in the video inside their own head. Here, let's do it together. You ready? Did you get all that? Now again, given only the subject's brain activity heat map, this is what the AI determined the person was thinking. I see a girl that looks just like me get hit on the back, and then she is knocked off. Probably a bit different than what you thought, but this is literally AI reading our minds, and all it takes is someone's fMRI brain scan data. Our thoughts and dreams can now be leaked to the world. Give it a few more years and this technology will get near perfect. And sure, fMRI machines may look like this today, big, clunky, and all around you, but that technology is also going to improve. What if we have fMRI Apple Vision Pro goggles 10, 20 years from now? You'd be able to see and read what someone is thinking or even dreaming by just looking at them.
That's crazy, man. AI getting to the...
Your parents told you as a kid that you still believe.
Alright.
That sitting too close to a screen will cause eye damage. While extended close viewing can cause eye strain and headaches, it won't cause any lasting damage. That milk builds strong bones. There are multiple studies that found that there is no evidence that drinking milk can prevent bone fractures or osteoporosis. And there's also studies that show that the people who drank more milk as teenagers had more bone fractures as adults. That if you go outside in the cold without a jacket or with wet hair, you'll get sick. This will not give you a cold, however, it does put stress on the immune system, so if you are vulnerable, you're going to be more vulnerable in the cold. That it's dangerous to stand in front of a microwave while it's cooking. Microwaves use a type of radiation that don't have enough energy to knock an ion out of an atom, and therefore they're not known to cause damage to DNA inside of cells. That cracking your knuckles leads to arthritis. And the cracking here is synovial fluid filling that empty space you just created, and this doesn't cause any damage or weakness to
the dirtiest things in the world. A number of bacteria. Toilet bowls 51.2 million. Bed sheets 72.3 million. Toothbrushes 100 million. Your mouth 6 billion. Kitchen sponges 54 billion.
Cute animals that are actually extremely dangerous. Part 1. Although dolphins are known to be human-friendly, intelligent, and playful, they can also be one of the most dangerous animals if you upset them. They occasionally bite people with their sharp teeth. They can also kill you if they hit you hard enough with their nose, and also if they pull you underwater.
Let's see if you have nyctophobia. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Try your best to make it through all 5.
Here we
Let's
go.
start the test. How does this dark hole make you feel? How about walking home at night alone? Walking down this hallway with no flashlight? Looking out of the window and seeing this? Or looking out at night to see this figure? So how did you do? Did you make it through all 5?
If not, then you could have nyctophobia, which is the fear of the night or darkness. Let me know if you have nyctophobia in the comments below, and remember to hit the plus sign and follow me to see if you can make it through the next phobia test.
And if you see this guy, like you said, nyctophobia, I think I freaking passed with flying colors. None of those pictures bothered me, man. Being in the dark, being at night, I think I can deal with it, man. That's definitely like not one of my even top 10 fears, bro. So I know I passed that with flying colors.
The disturbing facts that may ruin your day. Your brain blocks out the feeling of your organs moving around inside of your body at all times. After giving birth, some women can feel their organs sliding back into place as their uterus shrinks.
Ooh.
Human babies are helpless at birth compared to other animals because our brains grow so big. We evolved to give birth earlier in our development so that we don't severely hurt the mother while coming out of the birth canal. Your nose is always in your line of sight. Your brain just chooses to ignore it. You can look at any object and your tongue already knows what it feels like to lick it. You could have 2/3 of your liver removed and it would regenerate itself. If your immune system found out that you had eyes, it would attack them and you would go blind. No matter how hard you strain, you're only using about 60% of your full strength. If your brain didn't stop you, you could tear your muscles and break your bones just trying to throw a ball as hard as you can. When you hear about mothers lifting cars, this is thought to be the fight or flight adrenaline temporarily overriding that limit. If you have surgery and they have to take out your intestines, they put them in a bowl next to them while they work. Your intestines wiggle around in the bowl like snakes the whole time.
Most download.
And we survived that, man. Human beings are freaking incredible. Like I said, I didn't even know about the 60%. I was saying, imagine if we could actually use 100%, but I don't think, like I said, our bodies can take, we would tear ourselves apart. Well, you know, man. I guess that's why there's a limit, bro. It's a reason for everything.
Mobile games in the world. Subway Surfers 1 billion.
Good times.
Pokemon Go 1 billion. Mobile Legends Bang Bang 1 billion. Garena Free Fire 1 billion. PUBG Mobile 1.2 billion. The most heavily protected places on Earth. Coca-Cola is super cautious about who they tell their secret recipe to. It originated in 1886 by a guy named John Pemberton. He put the formula in a safe until the year 2007. In 2007, it was transferred to a vault in the Coca-Cola Museum. Very few people have ever seen the formula, kind of like Mr. Krabs and the Krabby Patty. You know what I'm saying? Workers and even executives of the company aren't allowed to see the formula. And the ingredients actually come into the factory as unlisted. Some of the ingredients are on the label because of FDA regulations, but if you want to know the secret ingredient, the only way you can access that is through the vault. This boy made one last request before surgery, and when his parents found out what it was, they immediately broke down in tears. Jackson was a 9-year-old boy who was born with a cyst on the left side of his brain. When he was growing up, he was always in and out of the hospital and constantly getting tests done. Although Jackson has had many surgeries in his past, there was a big one coming up, and he was nervous for it. Finally, the big day came, and he was wheeled into the operating room and away from his parents. Then they hooked up his IV, and they were about to put him to sleep before something happened. He asked for one last request, and the doctor broke down in tears. The doctor granted his wish, and they started operating, but you seriously will not believe what the request was. Before I tell you what it was, I found a way you can live stream with no requirements. Like, even if you have 0 followers. So if you want to live stream, just press right here. Jackson asked the doctors if they could perform surgery on his little teddy bear, George. So they decided to do the operation on his teddy bear in the exact same spot that they were going to do it with Jackson. Jackson then went through the surgery, and everything turned out great.
This guy took a video of his neighbor's window and saw this. Why are there so many flies? Well, most likely there is a dead body in there. So I went in his other videos to look for an update. And then 3 days later, the flies are still there and there's no context. Did this guy call the police? Did he let anyone know? This is crazy.
Did aliens create us?
People have to be way more careful.
Actually says that we are the aliens. I mean, why are we the most smartest advanced species on the planet? Why is there no equal species? We are the most advanced primates. The theory goes that during 6000 BC, an alien race called the Anunnaki came to Earth. They studied the species And we're very interested in primates. Now look, the Anunnaki were very involved in genetic experimentation. They started messing with the DNA of primates and accelerated it, making evolution turn primates into us, Homo sapiens. They did this to leave their mark and carry their bloodline on this planet, creating a new breed of beings gifted with extraordinary intelligence and extraordinary consciousness. And then supposedly as we evolved, they slowly guided humanity, pushing us to what we have become today. And then they did their job and left. But they're always watching us, and that's why we always see UFOs hovering around the sky, never really doing anything but watching us. It's them checking on their creation. Now this is where it gets wild, because in ancient Sumerian texts, they described the Anunnaki as beings who could fly with elongated heads and said they were very wise. But what do you guys think? Did we just become from the normal nature of evolution, or were we created?
Let's talk about another...
Asking a valid question, Seekers, man. Do you think that's how we got our evolutionary jump from, I guess they said, primates to Homo sapiens? They came down from the sky and they did something to us to make us get the evolutionary jump, and that's why we be seeing UFOs and things like that in the air, but we can never identify them. They coming back and checking up on us? Man, these clips, bro. You always get the craziest theories, man.
One of the internet's most tragic stories, Opal. Opal is an Adult Swim short created by singer-songwriter Jack Stauber. You probably know him for hits like Peppermint and Buttercup. The video starts by showing us a happy family in a pretty white house singing to a young girl named Opal. Opal is quite happy in this scenario, as they each tell her that they see her and compliment her in different ways. But Opal sees a mysterious house through the window and it seems to worry her. Opal crosses the street that night despite the warnings of her family to visit the house. There she is greeted by an entirely different family that refers to her as Claire, and each is singing about their miseries. The grandfather is blind and has a smoking addiction. The father is extremely self-conscious of his looks and even insults Claire to make himself feel better. And the mother is dealing with various addictions and the trauma of an incident she was a part of. Opal runs from the family and locks herself in a room where she looks across the street towards where the happy house was. But instead she is greeted with a billboard. Anything look familiar? It bears a striking resemblance to the happy family scene earlier in the film. It is at this point that we realize that Opal is Claire and that the happy family is just a coping mechanism in her head. The film leaves us with this sad scene. And there you go, the sad story of a girl trapped with an abusive family, reinventing her reality within her head.
She literally made that film.
Let's talk about a terrifying horror game involving a demonic secret that the Catholic Church wants to keep hidden. Our Lady of Sorrow.
Okay.
Full playthrough on the channel. Our Lady of Sorrow is one of the many names given to Mary, the mother of Jesus. But what does this have to do with the horror game? Well, the game itself is actually a secret tape that the Catholic Church is hiding from the public. The Church claims that the footage is dangerous and should not be viewed by anybody. As you play through the tape, you discover that something is happening to the statues of Mary. And you learn that years ago, a woman who was thought to be a witch was burned at the stake right here at the church. Whatever was possessing her is still here. Explore both the grounds of the church and the crypt beneath to figure out what demonic presence the church is hiding. But the real secret and danger lies not in the church, but in the tape itself.
You guys gonna check that game out, Seekers? I'm not into horror games like that either, so I don't know.
Things you never knew the purpose of. These small buttons on jeans are called rivets, and they're placed in the places with the most wear and tear to prevent your pants from ripping. The tiny pocket on jeans is supposed to hold a pocket watch. It's a design from the 1800s. The bottom line of a Solo cup is roughly about one shot. The second line is for wine, and the third line is for beer. The neck shape of a beer bottle is designed to incentivize you to hold it from there so that you don't warm your beer before you finish it. These static wicks on an airplane exist in order to reduce the chances of the plane being struck by lightning. The arrow on the gas gauge for your car points in the direction of which side the gas tank is on your car. These orange balls only exist to help make power lines more visible to low-flying aircraft. The dimpled ridges on a golf ball help reduce the drag when it's flying through the air, making it go further and faster.
The more you know, man. I know they put those on the power lines, the orange balls.
You get free Fila shoes. And this guy was about to make his attempt, but little did anyone know, he's secretly a hurdler.
Okay. It's like a Chico horror, man.
Not only did he complete the jump, but he exceeded it and took home a free pair of shoes.
Animals that most definitely exist.
Easy dub for him.
To acknowledge their existence based on principle. Number one. Oh my god. That's not real. That's a goofy goober. That's not a real animal. The Tibetan sand fox looks like you just told it a bad joke. It looks like it's really upset with you. It looks so unnaturally natural. It looks like it's bad taxidermy, but it's still alive. It looks like it knows how to talk, but it only does it when you're not around. The Potu bird or the Patu bird, I don't know. That's a problem. That's a problem. If I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw this thing looking at me through the window, I would head down to the nearest rope store. That's as much as I can say on this app. Hey Tucker, how come you don't let your feet touch the bottom of the ocean when you go swimming in it? Oh, maybe because the hairy frogfish continues to taunt me with his existence. Oh my god, I can't imagine stepping on that. I'd cry immediately. I'm not gonna claim I know how God made animals, but when he was doing the fish, he really was running out of concepts. Just put more spikes on it. Just more spikes. It's gotta be different somehow, so just make it a hideous being.
I didn't even know half of that frog joint even existed.
Let's find out. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Let's see if you can make it to the end. First one. How about this?
I'm good.
Feeling uneasy yet?
I'm still cool.
Almost there. Last one.
Okay, the last one kind of got
Here
me.
are 3 real ways to survive encountering a weeping angel. For those of you who aren't aware, the Weeping Angels are a race of horrific alien entities who feed off the energy of human beings and bear the appearance of religious statues. The first rule you'll need to remember, if you're unlucky enough to encounter one of these creatures, is to never take your eyes off of it, no matter what happens. Weeping Angels are only able to move as long as they are not being directly observed, so as long as you keep an eye on them, you should be safe. However, the moment you even blink, your life will be at risk once again. Which brings us to our second rule. If you suspect there is an angel in your area, be sure to travel as a group. At some point while watching over an angel, you're going to need to rest your eyes. If you have someone watching with you, you can blink in shifts, ensuring that this creature is never able to catch you off guard. Finally, if you want to get rid of a weeping angel permanently, you'll need to beat it with your brain instead of your brawn. Because of their supernatural strength and invulnerability, it is impossible to beat an angel in hand-to-hand combat. However, if you can trick it into viewing its own reflection, or trick 2 angels into staring at each other, you will be able to permanently freeze them in time, successfully ensuring your survival. Tag a friend if you're watching this at night, and follow for more.
How to beat a Weeping Angel guide.
2024 just got even crazier, part 15.
Well, the US Coast Guard just released the first ever footage of the Titan submarine on the sea floor after it imploded last year. And we also found out that the last word transmitted by the crew inside was, "all good here." Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Next, LEGO just revealed they made a fully functional McLaren out of 342,000 LEGO pieces, and it took 8,300 hours to make. The car is powered by 768 LEGO electric motors, and it can go up to 40 miles per hour. The last time LEGO made a car was in 2018, and it was a Bugatti that could go 12 miles per hour. The fact that this McLaren can go 40 miles per hour is insane. Finally, Samsung announced they are currently working on a rollable mobile phone that could be released as early as late 2025. But just imagine getting a call, but you have to unroll your phone to answer the call. Do you guys think this is a bad idea or good idea? This is wild.
What do you guys think, man? I think that Lego story really freaking hit me, bro. They really made a whole car? McLaren out of Legos? Fun fact, man, McLaren's kind of like my dream car, so that's insane to think about, man. It goes up to 40 miles an hour, too. You keep pushing the boundaries, man. One day, bro, I'm calling it. It's going to be a whole freaking... They're going to try to sell a Lego car. Like, legit, bro. People driving them on the road. Come back to this video, man. I said it first.
So the FBI are now saying that it appears that this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which would make it the second time in only 3 months.
crazy. In the press conference, authorities say that a man was hiding in the bushes holding a long-range rifle with a scope attached, pointed in Trump's direction. He also had 2 backpacks hung on the fence with ceramic tiles, which they believe could have been intended to make use for makeshift body armor, and a GoPro, which they believe that he intended to record the whole situation with. Part I want to know more about. They say he was only 500 yards away from Trump before Secret Service agents saw the scope in the bushes and opened fire. Wild.
Facts that you probably didn't know until now. A lot of us are used to taking flights that last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, but did you know that the shortest flight in the world only lasts 57 seconds? A Logan Air flight between Scottish Islands Westray and Papa Westray only lasts 57 seconds and travels a distance of 1.7 miles. Like, bitch, I could run that. Another fun fact is one about elephants. Did you know not only do they hear out of their ears, but they can also hear out of their feet? Typically, to hear normal distances, elephants will open their ears like that and scan back and forth to hear. But to help them hear noises that are far away, they'll freeze, lean on their front legs, and that's how they hear. And lastly, we all know and love Pringles. Who doesn't love a good Pringle? The man responsible for creating the iconic Pringles can is named Frederick Bauer, but that's not the fun fact. The fun fact is that when he passed away, it was his dying wish that his remains be put in a Pringles can. His children honored the wish. They even debated over which flavor can they should put him in, and they settled on the original.
Oh.
This is the greatest coincidence of all time. Around the 1950s, there was a 15-person church choir in Nebraska that met every Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. for practice. But on the 1st of March 1950, something strange happened. It was a cold day, so the pastor, Reverend Klempel, stopped earlier at the church to fire up the furnace and went home for dinner. It was then time to go back to church when his daughter noticed a large food stain on her dress. So he told his wife to iron another dress, which made them uncharacteristically late for practice. A choir member named Harvey was also trying to get his 2 sons ready, as his wife was out of town and he wasn't as quick in getting them ready as she was, which meant he would also be late.
Okay.
Another choir member named Herbert lost track of time that day while writing a letter. Ladonna was a student who was trying to finish her homework that same day, but she was having problems with geometry. The Estu sisters were also in the choir, were having problems with their car, so they asked the struggling mathematician, Ladonna, to pick them up. The pianist Marilyn Paul had fallen asleep after dinner, and her mother, who was the choir director, was having problems waking her up, which would also make them late for practice. High school student Lucille lost track of time listening to a radio program, which meant her and her neighbor Dorothy would also be running behind schedule. Mrs. Leonard and her daughter had to stop by her mother's house before practice, and the mother had a lot of stories to tell that day. And chorister Joyce Black had no peculiar reason for coming late. She said she was just feeling lazy and wanted to rest a bit. The practice was scheduled for 7:20, and at 7:27, the church would erupt to a ball of flames fueled by a broken gas pipe. No one inside the church would survive the blast, except that there was no one inside the church. Because on that day, each of the choir members and their children were uncharacteristically late for the most random reasons. So do you think this was divine intervention, or it was simply the greatest coincidence of all time? Baltimore?
The name...
Man. That's a chilling story, bro. Like, all of them had, like, a reason for being late. Like I said, is that the greatest coincidence of all time or divine intervention, man? I'm gonna go with intervention. Because, like you said, the whole church went up in flames and it seems like nobody was survived, but nobody was inside the church because they was all late. Every single last one of them, man. It's really hard to think about. Like, do you know how much of a coincidence that would have to be? That's like a 1 in a billion chance all of them would be late. Whew.
Jim Jones has haunted me ever since I learned about the Jonestown Massacre that claimed the lives of 908 innocent American civilians, making it the largest number of American deaths in a non-natural event preceding the September 11th attacks. Amongst the 908 victims was an outsized number of African Americans and a sitting congressman. But how did Jim Jones convince all of these people to follow his teachings? It's important to note most people will not blindly follow a stranger, but that they experienced manipulation and false truths about how one should live. The Emmy-winning team behind 9/11 One Day in America are now releasing a new docu-series called Cult Massacre One Day in Jonestown. It's a Hulu original from National Geographic that features never-before-seen footage, first-hand survivor accounts of Jim Jones, and a look at what really happened that fateful day in Jonestown.
What caught my attention the most was the never-before-seen footage, and I think this docu-series will help shed light on the story while giving power back to the voices of those who survived Jim Jones. Colt Massacre, One Day in Jonestown is now streaming on Hulu.
Should I check that out?
This manipulative teen killer thought he could get away with murder. 17-year-old Dylan Shoemaker made a desperate plea to the judge after beating his girlfriend's 23-month-old son to death. Shoemaker's defense attorney, Joseph Terranova, tried to get his client the minimum sentence of just 15 years.
Austin Smith was completely defenseless because it's a given. But there were other dynamics at work there, including my client's inability to either control his anger or frustration, and his inexperience in babysitting.
But Judge M. William Mueller saw through his tears.
The phone call to your mother from a holding center, you stated, you got a quote from the court reporter. I am a 16-year-old woman. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury, and they're going to feel sorry for me.
But Dylan Shoemaker was sentenced to 25 years to life for the second-degree murder of Austin Smith in 2013.
That you didn't know. If you look close, you can see that most scenes from different Disney movies are actually very similar, and that's because drawings were actually made by hand, and the animators only make a few changes to make a new scene. And since Walt Disney wanted to spend most of his time at Disneyland, he actually built a secret apartment on the second floor of the fire station, which is located on the famous avenue that leads you to the park's Central Plaza. And the name of the wizard in Fantasia is actually Yenzin, which is actually the word Disney in reverse. And Blue from Monsters, Inc.'s real name is actually Mary, and that's because the person who plays her is called Mary Gibbs.
Scary facts that will make your skin crawl. 80.6. Phobias are based on how we died in our past life. Maybe that's why we're afraid to do things we never tried, because it's how we died. Experts said that dark areas such as abandoned houses and vacant rooms are the possible places where you can feel the presence of ghosts. So if you're alone right now while reading this post, there is a chance that someone is watching you. If you're awake at night without a reason, then it means that you are awake in someone else's dreams.
That phobia thing. Interesting.
The first one is about finding Nemo. Did you know that Nemo actually translates to nothing or nobody in Latin? And some people think that that's just what he was. He was nothing. After the traumatic attack on his family, Marlin created a fictional son in his mind in order to cope with the loss. So finding Nemo was really just him going through the stages of grief. And that's also why he's so overprotective. And the next one gets even darker. It's about cars.
Whoa.
When you were watching this, you might have noticed that there are no humans anywhere. But humans had to have been there at some point to build the cars, change the motors, and all that kind of stuff. So what happened to them? The theory is that in the future, technological advancements made it possible for cars to think on their own. Which I feel like at this point is not that far of a stretch, you know what I mean? But they didn't want to be controlled by humans anymore. So they ran over all the humans one by one until they took over the world.
Websites you should...
I didn't even think about that with the Cars movie theory, man, because I remember as a kid, I'd be like, well, where the humans at? That I think about it, that theory could actually be true. Our childhood's bad. Get exposed.
Probably remember SAAI.ai. This website allows you to generate custom articles from the clickable button. Once you're on the website, there are 3 separate options. First, input what topic you want to talk about. The second one is you want to select what type of essay you're willing to write. You can choose from all of these options. Third, select how many words you want it to actually be. And finally, you can select which language you want to do. Here's a tip. If you click the undetectable mode, it will make it look like an actual human wrote it, giving you a 0% AI score. Which means teachers or people you're sending this to will think you're the one who actually wrote it, and we can use GPT-0 to check the results of this, and as you can see, bam, here they go.
Life hack.
Good luck with this, and please don't snitch.
Morbid facts.
You know college kids gonna be using that.
In 1987, police responded to Illinois father Russell Dardine's home after he failed to report to work. There they found the dead bodies of his pregnant wife Ruby and their son, who were both victims of a brutal beating. Ruby was beaten so badly that she prematurely went into labor, and even the newborn baby was beaten to death as well. Initially, Keith was the most obvious suspect until his body was found shot dead in a nearby field with his genitals mutilated. Serial killer Tommy Lynn Sells later confessed to the murders but was never formally charged, so the case remains cold. 1980, John Favera, the neighbor of mafia boss John Gotti, accidentally ran over and killed the mobster's 12-year-old son Frank. Although it was ruled an accident, Favera went missing that same year and was never seen nor heard from again. Former mobster Charles Carneglia later claimed that Favera was abducted, tortured, and slowly dismembered with a chainsaw while he was still alive. His remains were then stuffed inside a barrel filled with concrete and dumped in the ocean.
Man. That's a dark case right there.
Gross habits that are actually good for you.
What?
You probably think burping is rude and disrespectful. Well, that's wrong. Burping actually helps release the air that's trapped inside your lungs. And believe it or not, but if you never burp, you could actually damage your digestive system. Biting your nails might seem nasty at first, but digesting bacteria that's under your nails actually improves your immune system. Studies show that kids who bite their nails are actually less prone to getting sick. Before I tell you the grossest one, I found this app where you can erase anything from your photos, and I mean literally anything. Press the link in my bio, but don't use it for bad. If you shower every day, stop right now. Showering every day could actually damage your skin and your hair. Because when you shower, you remove many useful bacteria. So the next time you skip a few showers, just know you're actually being healthy.
48-year-old.
Man, y'all been seeing that thing. I know y'all been seeing the thing with the celebrities, how they be saying how they be taking some of them. They be saying they don't even be taking showers or they be showering every other day or something like that. That's like, I don't know about that one, Chief. That one's kind of weird. No, I ain't gonna say God, it is kind of weird. Oh man, what do you guys think about that one?
David Carpenter from Iowa was recently arrested after accidentally shooting his father in the face after the two were arguing about David's stinky feet. He is now awaiting trial. Here are some recent crimes that happened in August of 2024 that caught my attention. This is 25-year-old David Fogel, who was kicked out of a strip club in Tampa, Florida for, quote, inappropriate behavior. Instead of driving home, he drove his truck into a group of people waiting outside the entrance. He injured multiple and took the life of one. He is now awaiting trial and could receive life in prison. A missing persons cold case from 1974 of 34-year-old Doris Wurst and her daughter 4-year-old Karen was recently closed after police received a call of a car located at the bottom of a canal. Inside were the remains of both Doris and Karen. One speculation as to how the two ended up at the bottom of the canal is from CBSNews.com. What are your thoughts?
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory, part 11. The girl wearing the veil is Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped for 9 months by the man on the far right. This photo was taken at a party the kidnapper crashed with Elizabeth, and she was forced to wear this veil at all times to keep her from being recognized in public. While this photo may seem like a bunch of astronauts hanging out at the pool and having a great time, it's actually the crew of Apollo 1. They died inside the capsule on the left, unable to escape the fire. This is Chernobyl Elephant's Foot, a massive radiation from the reactor core meltdown. If you hang around it for too long, it becomes deadly, but not nearly as much as in 1986. It's so deadly that they had to use a set of mirrors to take this photograph. This photo was just taken after LBJ became president following the assassination of John F. Kennedy. In the front, you'll see Jackie Kennedy grieving her husband's death. LBJ turned toward his lifelong friend, Texas Congressman Albert Thomas, who gave him a wink and a smile.
Why did he wink and smile?
For people trying to reduce their screen time, there just might be a solution for you. A trend has been going around where people have started using dumb phones. So basically, instead of carrying around your smartphone, people have now started using these things. So the way that it works is that these phones don't have any social media or apps, and you only have access to your contacts for minimal texting and calling. Companies such as Punked and Lightphones carry these, and they're sold starting at $300. And the entire purpose of this is to get people to stop scrolling on their phone for hours and hours. But what I find very interesting about this concept is that we as people do not have enough self-control to stop ourselves from scrolling for hours on these social media apps, that we have to go ahead and buy another phone so that we can control our addiction. I remember growing up, we had something very similar to this, but not on purpose. We just didn't have the technology that we have now. I literally had one of these as my first phone in grade 8, and I could only text and call, and I swear I had a limit of about 300 texts that I can send in 1 month. So when I went over that, the bill would be much higher, and I would get in shit. These things did not have any apps or social media, so we didn't have the issues that we have now. So what do you guys think about this trend? Would you use it?
Here are some
I would try that trend.
coincidences. This lady's phone background is the exact same as the picture on this truck. What are the chances? And the picture on the back of this RV lines up perfectly with the mountains. Now I want to know, did these two guys plan this? Because it spells out Cookie Monster. That cannot be a coincidence. And these two people are wearing opposite colored clothes and opposite color hair. Now they're definitely a perfect match. Now this one's crazy. They're wearing the same jacket, same scarf, and even have the exact same blue hair.
That's like a glitch in the Matrix, man. All those coincidences.
I'm sorry, but what did scientists just create? And how is no one talking about this? Trust me, favorite this video because this is the craziest news of the century. Scientists in Beijing just cloned and brought back dragons. But you might be wondering what I mean by brought back. Well, as it turns out, in early to mid last year, in the mountains of Taimoshan, actual dragon remains were found. Personally, I've waited a long time for this. I am a Targaryen! Using the method of carbon dating, they were approximated to be 15,000 years old. Even the scales were still visible. Now, they quickly acquired the DNA from the dragon remains and proceeded to combine it with the DNA and RNA of lizards that are alive today, such as with the Komodo dragon, with the iguana, and with the bearded dragon. Finally created an actual species of dragon. Now this was all leaked online by one of the researchers, coming out with emails between the researchers and the government, as well as picture proof. However, this is the part you're gonna go, what? In one of the emails, it was pointed out that one of the dragons that had been combined with a Komodo dragon had developed toxic venom. A venom which we have no cure for because, you know, we created the dragon! This is literally one of the most insane things I've ever spoken about on this channel. So send this to literally anyone you know to completely waste their time. Because I'm pretty sure all of these images are AI generated to fool us into thinking dragons existed. I'm really sorry.
Was this Reddit user actually abducted by aliens? Reddit user Seeker469 said that as a kid, he was spending the night at his aunt and uncle's house, which was out in the sticks in Tennessee. He was sleeping on the couch and woke up due to a bright light coming through the kitchen window into the living room. He was facing the light, which was white and slightly flickering, for about 10 minutes. Then he turned his head as it was keeping him awake. A few more minutes passed and he turned his head back towards the light and was about to go to sleep when he saw a tall, dark figure standing in front of him. He was frozen and could not move or scream. It approached him, reached out, and began tapping on his forehead with what felt like a nail or something pointed. He said that this went on for another few minutes until he must have fallen or was put to sleep. He woke up the next morning to a quiet house. He went to the bathroom and he had a red spot on his forehead. The skin was slightly broken, but there was no blood.
That cat was legit,
As of right
man.
now, this is definitely my top 10, absolutely top 5. It is easily one of the most uniquely effective horror movies. This movie is about a woman named Ella who is a stop-motion animator working with her mother. And when the mother becomes hospitalized, it is up to Ella to finish her mother's vision, which Ella doesn't really want to do. And with the help of this random little girl from down the hallway, Ella tries to create a film like no other. However, when the world of reality and the world of stop motion start to really bleed together, it's going to make you wonder for the entire runtime of the movie, what is real? Now, in my opinion, I absolutely loved this movie. I don't know if the director is a genius or accidentally one, because everything in this movie just somehow works, and it works without answering all of your questions. It is a very dreamlike and ethereal type movie, so from the start, you're kind of questioning about everything, which some people are going to love and some people are really not going to like. And it goes without saying, the stop motion animation in this is perfectly creepy. If you've seen any of the previous works of the director, take the weirdness and tone of that and put it into a movie. Now, as far as like what type of scares to be prepared for in this movie, it's a good mix of a lot of different things. A handful of jump scares here and there, but what is really effective is when the purpose of the movie is just to solely creep you out. But a warning to the squeamish, there are a couple of body horror scenes that can be kind of rough. They're extraordinarily well done. Just keep that in mind towards the end. Now, stop motion has a very limited run in theaters. Hopefully, there's more showings in the future. But the good news is, stop motion will be streaming on Shudder on May 31st. If you've seen this movie, what do you guys think?
Check that out. Stop motion, man. guys know I'm kind of into
Right,
scary
here we go
movies.
again. A time traveler from the year 2671 has warned us about these dates in 2024. So make sure to favorite this video so we can keep track of these dates and see if they were right.
You got it.
Let's hope they aren't. Let's start with January 23rd, 2024. A message is sent from an underground civilization known as the Splitting Worlds. Essentially, we go under the Earth's crust to discover a whole new world. With a new kind of human, but of course, they want war. For fuck's sake! March 7th, 2024. A mirrored Earth is found inside our solar system and is the exact opposite to Earth. Essentially, yes, it is habitable, but the gravity and physics are completely different. On top of that, plants are red and the water's purple. What? Didn't think it could get weirder? You'd be wrong. Let's talk about April 15th, where SpaceX finds out how to make a spaceship travel the speed of light. However, like everything, this comes with its problems. Because apparently this is when we begin to meet alien life forms, who of course want to steal the light speed engine from us. Finally, we have June 29th, 10 days after my birthday. Mark your calendars. Where 197 mysterious statues appear around the world. One in every single country.
Ooh.
Apparently, we eventually find out that the statues were placed here to track and scare humanity. Mission succeeded. And they release many terrible things. Now, I did my research. I have no idea what terrible things means. Could you be more cryptic? There are literally so many more, so I think I'm going to do a part 2 tomorrow. And do you think any of these will come true? Elon!
No.
Secret safe under her floor.
'Cause they didn't.
You seriously won't believe what they found inside. One day, Joe and his daughter Rebecca were cleaning out her closet when they discovered a secret safe under the tile. They
Ooh.
tried guessing the combination hundreds of times, but they couldn't get it open. Joe even posted on social media asking if anyone knew how to open the safe. And that's when a licensed locksmith saw the serial number and got the combination from the manufacturer. But you won't believe what they found inside. The safe was filled with water, so he grabbed some gloves and pulled out a solid gold coin, and it turns out it's actually worth $180.
These are
What?
some of the strangest graves in the world. In a small village located deep into the Philippines, there's a tribe that has a specific ritual. Every member that passes away is placed in a coffin and then nailed against the side of a mountain. The idea is their souls will be closer to God in the afterlife. And there's thousands of these coffins. And George Thomas was decapitated almost 200 years ago from an accident. And at his gravesite, a statue of him actually holds his head up. It's facing towards him so he can watch over his soul.
Whoa. You know, different people have different customs, man. They wanted to be more close, I guess, to their God, so that's what they did.
Unsolved mysteries. This photo shows all the world's mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark. In this series, we're going to be going through each category until we reach tier 10, which will apparently ruin my life and change the way we all see the world. So I'm pretty terrified. If you haven't, go watch the previous 3 parts now. If you have, stick around. Make sure to hit that follow button because stuff is going to get crazy. Today we're going to be looking at the Russian microwaves. Now this sounds really boring and weird, but it is so messed up. Basically, the Russian government started putting up these discs which look like satellite. They don't look like they cause any harm, but they eventually admitted they were using microwave technology and radiation, almost as some kind of weapon. But why? Well, these were actually planted near an American embassy. Lots of CIA operatives were, and spies. And a lot of these people got extremely ill and had to leave their jobs because of this radiation. Well, the theory is the Russian government were doing this on purpose, to get these spies out of the country. What do you think? Why else would they be using microwave weapons?
Another gold case.
I ain't gonna lie, I can't. Nah, I believe that one, man. You know, man, people when they be messing with those waves of radiation, man, could truly get you sick. And he said I guess they were like U.S. agents or something, and they were in Russia, so you probably know they wanted to get them out as quickly as possible, but they had to do it in a covert way. It's crazy to think we had that type of level of technology, man.
Case has been solved thanks to advanced DNA testing. Julianne Julie Williams and Laura Lolly Winans were both 24 years old when they went on a camping trip in Shenandoah National Park in Virginia in May 1996. The two had met through a group that organized outdoor adventures, so they were so excited to be going on this trip. They left on May 19th with plans to return on the 28th, and when they did not make it home, their family called the National Park Service to report them missing. Unfortunately, after an extensive search on June 1st, Julie and Lolly were found murdered at their campsite just off the Appalachian Trail. They had been bound and gagged and their throats had been slit, but their case quickly went cold and remained that way for the past 28 years. In 2021, the FBI assigned a new team in Richmond to review the case.
The team began retesting evidence and submitted it to a private lab, which was able to pull DNA from several pieces of evidence. And last week, it was announced that the FBI had identified the man responsible for killing Julie and Molly. DNA retrieved from the evidence was entered into CODIS, and it came back as a match to convicted serial Walter Leo Jackson Sr. Jackson had a lengthy criminal history, including kidnapping and he was also known to visit the Shenandoah National Park. He was most recently sent to prison on multiple charges in 2011, and he ended up dying in prison in March 2018. So unfortunately, he will not have to face justice for what he did to Julie and Molly. But at least now their families have answers. The FBI has also said that they are continuing to investigate if Jackson can be connected to any other unsolved crimes and are asking for anybody with any information about him to come forward. Both Julie and Molly loved spending time outdoors and were so excited for their camping trip when their lives were so senselessly taken. Rest in peace, Julie and Molly.
Want to hear a truly eerie case? This is the bizarre disappearance of Brandon Swanson. On May 13, 2008, Brandon Swanson had just completed his first year at a local technical college where he lived in Marshall, Minnesota. That evening, he and some friends celebrated at a home nearby in Canby. According to friends at the party, Brandon seemed fine when he left the party just after midnight. Brandon was going to make the 30-minute drive back to his parents' home in Marshall. Almost an hour later at 1:15 a.m., Brandon got his car stuck in a ditch. He first called friends for assistance, but they didn't answer, so he called his parents and told them that he was stuck. When asked, he said he wasn't injured, and Brian and Annette, his parents, drove and reached their son's mentioned location to try and find him. But strangely, when they get there, they don't find Brandon nor the car. They get back on the phone with Brandon and begin flashing their headlights. Brandon said he could see a light in the distance and said he would walk towards it. Staying on the phone with his dad during his journey, Brandon told him that he passed some fences and could overhear water flowing in the distance. Shortly after 2:30 a.m., 47 minutes into their phone call, Brandon suddenly shouted, "Oh shit," and then silence. His parents hung up and tried to call back again and again, but there was no answer. His parents continue driving around searching for their son or the car, but can't find anything. The next day, police start their search, and to add to the mystery, investigators looked at Brandon's cell phone records, and it indicated that Brandon was actually 25 miles from where he said he was, in a town called Porter. This led to the discovery of his car in a ditch nearby. In the following months, police and volunteers combed the area on foot, horseback, and all-terrain vehicles. But to this day, Brandon has never been found. Brandon's state of mind has been called into question, but both friends at the party and Brandon's parents said that he seemed fine. Mysterious. Overall, a really sad case for Brandon's family. What are your thoughts?
I'm not thinking worst fears, man. You're just off. You just wandered somewhere, man, and nobody ever hears from you again. You just jump off the face of the earth. They never found. Imagine not even getting that closure, man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, also, man, tell me what you guys think about this video. Did you guys believe in any of these theories that we saw today reviewing these clips? Like I said, hit that thumbs up. Follow me on my social medias. Guys, I'm catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.